Football, the legendary coach who made Ronaldo unstoppable and dominated world football. Episode 81. The day before the race, the entire Manchester United team took a bus and quietly arrived in London. In order to avoid being harassed by reporters, Liu Yi strictly forbade any player to leave the hotel. After the game, you can stay in London until the day after tomorrow, but before tomorrow's game, let me see who left the hotel, or was photographed by the reporter to go out and do something, then don't want to play any minute under my hands. Liu Yi's current authority, speaking so harshly, according to the loyalty of the players now, no one will go out. Others can't go out, and Liu Yi himself leads by example and will never leave the hotel for half a step. The entire hotel was chartered and there were no customers other than Manchester United players and coaching staff, players, club officials. After a simple meal, Liu Yi returned to his room and began to watch Chelsea 4 o'clock Juventus match, showing the Champions League championship in an all-round way, Chelsea's strength. Juventus has no ability to fight back. The whole team is tuned just right by Tuchel, and everyone can make their own contribution. What is more interesting is that Chelsea's door god Edward Mendy, Juventus, had a hard time having a chance, and they were also dissolved by him. In terms of this performance now, Liu wants to break the goal he is guarding. It is estimated that it will take some thought. Fortunately, the current Liu is a stronger Liu than before. He has enough weapons to hit the ball into the goal. After watching it himself, Liu Yi shared the video of these games with each player, asking them to watch it carefully several times, and then talk about their feelings, the last practice before tomorrow's game, to be tested. I hope you can have your own views on this game tomorrow, and then go and crack the opponent's offensive or defensive. Originally in the hotel, or playing games, or playing mobile phones, idle eggs hurt the players. This time there is something to do. 2 hours of video of the game, and careful watching. This time is really, in addition to eating, the schedule is full. But no one dared to disobey Liu Yi. Most people didn't think about it at all, and a few people gave up this tempting idea after a little thought. After all, Liu Yi dared to directly throw Captain Maguire on the bench, and these people did not feel that they had more influence than Maguire. In order to prevent these guys from being lazy, Liu Yi thought of the class teacher when he was in school. That was the deterrent power of the spot check. Even now, Liu Yi was a little cold sweat when he thought about it. Let these players enjoy this treatment. 2 hours later, Liu Yi pinched the point out of the door, looked at his next room. If there is no accident, it should be Carrick's, reached out and knocked on the door. Carrick, who was chatting on his mobile phone and complaining about Liu Yi's strange decision, suddenly heard someone knocking on the door, and was suddenly a little surprised. Who will come to find himself at this time? Ferran, who usually walks closer, has not even appeared at the training ground for 2 days, and it is said that the club is discussing the termination of his contract with him. With some doubts, Carrick opened the door, saw Liu Yi at the door, and almost broke out in a cold sweat. Can he use his mobile phone to chat with other people and spit on him a few words, and he can find out? What is Michael busy with? Seeing the smile on Liu Yi's face, it was not like he was looking for trouble. Carrick was slightly relieved. Was he going to communicate with himself about the team? After all, there is only one assistant coach left now, and if he leaves himself, the rest will need to be done by himself, which is really possible. Just chatted with my family. Oh, did you watch the game? Liu Yi replied casually, and the re-export came to the problem of checking the operation. Unfortunately, Carrick didn't know how serious it was. I haven't started watching it yet, so I'm ready to take a break and study it again. That's okay too. Liu Yi nodded slightly, and then there was no nonsense, leaving a dazed Carrick and walking towards the next room. The next one was Fred's room, and when he knocked on the door and went inside, he saw a notebook with half of the game video playing. No matter whether he can see what doorway he can see, this attitude alone is very correct, worthy of being the #1 loyal player under his command. Liu Yi is already very satisfied with him. Have you read it? How do you feel? I just watched it again, but I just feel that the opponent is very strong, more blossoms, invincible. The rest I did not understand anything, ready to see it again. Fred honestly replied that he is now a sapper midfielder and interception, stealing, covering and fighting is what he needs to do, so watching the game can help him understand the opponent. The opponent is very strong, but we are not weak. This time we are here for victory, don't have too much psychological pressure. Nodding with satisfaction, he encouraged Fred by the way, and Liu Yi went to the next room. A few random checks, the results are still very gratifying. At least all the players take his words seriously, although they may not be able to say anything, but at least they have seen. Under the coach's devilish spot check, the players of the whole team hit the spirit and honestly entered to watch the game and analyze the state of the game. No one knows whether the coach will appear in his room with a smile on his face the next second. In this way, the Manchester United players who have consumed too much energy, none of them sleep late at night, they all enter the dream early. One night later, the match day came, and when everyone went to step on the field in the morning, Liu Yi really talked and randomly let see Ronaldo, Rashford, Van der Beek, Lingard and Lindelof analyze the match between Chelsea and Juventus. The person who was drawn was a fluke, thanks to the fact that he really looked at it seriously, otherwise he would have finished the calf. Those who were not drawn, but also secretly made up their minds, in the future, the coach let dry, absolutely cannot do it, it is too scary. In the afternoon, 2 hours before the start of the game, Manchester United's away bus, near Stamford Bridge, a crowd of Chelsea fans, roared at the Manchester United bus, and the middle finger was raised, forming a forest of middle fingers. Manchester's soft eggs, let you taste the power of the iron Chelsea. Chelsea won the Champions League and the league and Manchester United became beggars with nothing. Let the countrymen from Manchester see the courage of London's giants. Go back and call mommy. Even if the sound insulation of the bus has done its best, but there are tens of thousands of people outside screaming and swearing at the mountains and tsunamis, it is really difficult for you to hear it. Those who are timid are expected to be directly frightened. Fortunately, Manchester United's players are players who have experienced a lot of battles, and they have long been familiar with all this, and no one has played an away game. Liverpool don't know how many times they've been there, and the Chelsea fans have made this little movement, that's a little meaning. Even Liu Yi was no exception, looking at the fans of Wuyang outside, and only sympathy for them was in his heart. I hope that when the game is over, Chelsea fans will still be able to toss and turn, and will not be hit too hard. Episode 82. Competitions between giants such as this have in fact begun since the end of the last round. Even after the announcement of the new season schedule, there will be extra attention, and people will speculate which games will be the ones that will determine the championship this season. The players warmed up on the field, and Liu Yi took Varane to the pre-match press conference. Today's Varane will inevitably make the most of the game, so make an appearance in advance to give everyone a psychological preparation. Tuchel took the press conference with him, but in the match against Juventus, the perfect young player, Reece James. The young right-back from the Chelsea Academy has shown great potential and ability, and it is worth mentioning that he is only 21 years old this year and has a great future. Compared with his own right-back Wan-Bissaka, the defensive ability is good, but the use of fullbacks in modern football has long been not a simple defense. And during Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's coaching, the overall level of Manchester United's players has actually shown a downward trend, of which Wan-Bissaka is the obvious one. Before Liu Yi took over, he didn't even have the speed and resolute tackle, and his one-on-one defensive ability fell sharply. Fortunately, after Liu Yi took over, the performance began to pick up, at least the defensive ability of the Town Guard side was still trustworthy. After all, Wan-Bissaka is a substitute on the right side, Dalot is even worse, the defense can't be defended, the attack can't come back, and it is too difficult to transform. Unless no one was available, Liu Yi was ready to send him to Rome at the winter window. Mourinho has said more than once that he wants to get Dalot, after all, Dalot has also been loaned to Serie A before. The two sides arrived one after the other, shook hands politely, and looked personable. Tuchel, as the coach of the home team, was the first to be interviewed. You just beat Juventus, will that have any impact on the game against Manchester United? The Times reporter was the first to get the opportunity to speak, and Kevin, the Penguin Sports special reporter hiding behind, was a face of envy. Of course, our players are more confident and let the outside world have a clear concept of our strength. The reporter of the Financial News has also been favored. Facing a strong team like Juventus and winning such a big victory will not make the team feel proud and complacent. This question made Tuchel a little wary, whether this boy was digging a hole for himself. Looking at the reporter in front of him, there was a piece of light on his head, exactly the appearance of a 26-year-old programmer, and he was immediately relieved that this boy had a thick beard and bald head and looked like a thick man. Of course not, our players are very professional, they will face every opponent seriously, especially a strong team like Manchester United, and we are completely prepared. Tuchel doesn't know yet, but as soon as the press conference is over, his words will become a news, #Tuchel, Manchester United are like other teams. The interview continues, today is a Premier League drama, plus there are no other giants in the same period, naturally let these few say a little more. What kind of result do you hope to achieve with the new Manchester United today? Tuchel smiled confidently, we will take all 3 points to further consolidate our top position. The next interview with Reece James, this young man, has long been a little unable to hold, in his opinion the coach is too conservative. Don't look at the recent unlimited scenery of Manchester United, it seems that what gods block the gods, Buddha blocks the super strong team that kills the Buddha, but in addition to Manchester City, they have encountered some stinky fish and rotten shrimp. Wherever it is like Chelsea, it is the strong teams that have conquered all the way. Manchester United has strengthened the limelight of Chelsea, which makes him very unhappy inside. Why Manchester United, an internet celebrity team, always occupies the front page headlines. Team news reporter: Hey James, first of all, congratulations on your debut today. Thank you. So what are your thoughts on today's game? We are a strong team, and as long as we can do our own thing, no one can stop us, and neither can Manchester United. Very good. The reporters below are ecstatic, and this is the effect. The reporter in front of him also secretly regretted that he knew that this boy was so fierce, so he interviewed Tuchel a few words less. And what did the car rep mean? Sitting on the side, Barney couldn't help but look at the young man. It seemed that he had to go back to the locker room to explain to the attack group and give the boy some color. The reporters who wanted to speak raised their hands, and Tuchel thought to himself that he was about to die, forgetting to tell James not to speak casually. Sky Sports' big-breasted sister got the chance to throw a wink at Reece James, and if he was willing to contact it privately, it was really negotiable. James, you may face a hot Cristiano Ronaldo in the game. Will you feel the pressure? Of course not. See, Liu Yi used to be a legend, but now that he is old, if I am in line with him, I will let him see the power of young people. By the way, to add, Messi is the best in the world today. This boy is really a treasure boy in the hearts of journalists. Think about it. What is the mood of C. Ronaldo? What is the mood of C. Ronaldo fans? What is the mood of Manchester United and Manchester United fans? A group of reporters at the scene, laughing teeth are going to fall out, hoping that Tuchel will give him the opportunity to press conference in the future. Liu Yi and Varane on the side, their faces have all darkened. This is a face punch in the face provocation. Who can bear it? Episode 83. After the interview with Reece James, everyone's eyes fell on Liu Yi. This is not a fuel-saving lamp. Journalists love this kind of coaching in players, and since Mourinho left the Premier League, journalists' post-match press conferences have been a lot less fun. Unexpectedly, first Ole Gunnar Solskjaer developed into a strong person at the conference, and then Liu Yi, who succeeded him, was not a fuel-saving lamp. What is even happier is that after Liu Yi's big victory over Tottenham Hotspur before, it directly led to Nuno's dismissal. Tottenham Hotspur has entered the Conte era. The media is also rejoicing, and there will be no worries about the Premier League not being able to quarrel in the future. Only quarrels have heat. The Daily Mail reporter took the lead in attacking Liu Yi. Liu, please ask Chelsea, who has the strongest defense and has only conceded 4 goals, does your team have the confidence to break the goal guarded by Mendy? Liu Yi smiled. What a problem. Of course, after all, Manchester City only conceded 6 goals before they met us. Manchester City, directly rooted in the heart, Pep Guardiola's trembling hands that day, has become a famous scene, often pulled out to take stock. The Guardian was given the opportunity to speak. Chelsea were the Champions League winners last season and are now at the top of the Premier League. Will it make you feel the pressure? There's definitely pressure, and being a coach doesn't have a little bit of pressure, but that doesn't stop us from taking a win and 3 points from here. Liu Yi replied like a stream. After so many games of training, he will not be as excited as at the beginning. The Daily Mirror reporter was the next to ask, Chelsea slaughtered Juventus with 4 goals in the Champions League the other day. What do you think? Congratulations Chelsea, they won very well. Finally, it was the turn of the Manchester Evening News reporter to speak, which can be regarded as his own person. Reece James says Messi is the best. Do you agree with that? I certainly don't approve of how well Cristiano has played in my team, as long as it's not blind and you can see that he's not the best in the world, so who is? Liu Yi did not hesitate to refute it, adding 2 sentences after the end. I will tell Cristiano his words, and then arrange for him to play as a left winger in this game, hoping that Chelsea's children will not feel desperate after the game. It is this kind of news. Hello, I good everyone praises each other. What can it mean? When interviewing Varane, the reporters will not be polite, hoping that Shuaba can say some explosive news. Varane, who had always been calm, was also stimulated, and the tone of his speech was much heavier. Let's see what happens in the game. Chelsea have lost to Manchester City before, but we have beaten Manchester City by 6 goals, and it should be Chelsea who is nervous. When we come to Stamford Bridge, or any future course, it will bring fear to the opponent. As the interviews progressed, the news kept coming out one by one. C. Liu is the best in the world. Hashtag Liu Yi, this game will arrange C. Ronaldo to play left wing. Hashtag Liu Yi, Chelsea are strong, but we are here to win. Hashtag Varane will make Chelsea feel bad in the game. Hashtag Varane, we want to make Chelsea feel afraid. Hashtag. In the Chelsea locker room, Tuchel looked at the news on his mobile phone and shook his head uncontrollably about Liu Yi's interview. Coach, will Liu Yi arrange for C. Liu to play left winger? Assistant coach Morris was bright-eyed, knowing the other party's arrangements in advance, and there was no doubt that he could better carry out targeted arrangements. Tuchel shook his head in denial. Cristiano Ronaldo has basically lost the ability to hold the ball now, coupled with the sharp decline in speed. Only by placing him close to the penalty area can he play his biggest role. He was once probably the strongest left winger in the world, but time has not gone back. So, Liu Yi will inevitably be 442, or a similar formation, Rashford or Greenwood partnering with Ronaldo. This is almost a foregone conclusion. Under normal circumstances, Tuchel's analysis is correct, but he knows that the other coach's head coach is a push. After Liu Yi's modification, Luo cannot be said to have restored the strength of the peak left winger, at least restored 90%, what does not have the ability to carry the ball. This game let them appreciate it. Once Lace Luo, after so many years of experience, coupled with a strong body, what kind of performance will erupt? It seems that this is a smoke bomb released by Liu Yi. Another assistant coach, Eddie Newton, agrees with Tuchel's claim, which is almost an accepted fact. In the away team's locker room, Liu Yi looked at Luo with a smile. Lao Luo, today you are going to play as a left winger, and after practicing your cheats for so long, your body should be greatly improved, so this game requires you to rush the opponent and let the boy know what is the best in the world. Ronaldo was a little surprised, because he hadn't done this kind of work in a long time and now played simpler and effective football. However, since it was arranged by the coach, it shows that he believes that he can do it, and Luo also nodded his head and agreed. Looking at his somewhat confused expression, Liu Yi went up and patted him on the shoulder. I know your body very well, and when the game starts, you can try to get back to where you used to be, and the other teammates will help you. After speaking, Liu Yi looked at the others and raised his voice. In this game, the tactics have been said before, and my only request is to give the ball to Cristiano when there is no good opportunity and cooperate with him to solve the problem. Episode 84. The basketball world used to be the head coach of the Cavaliers. The strategy is to give the ball to James Barca after Neymar left. The strategy is to give the ball to Messi and then let him develop. Now it's Liu Yi's turn to hand over the ball to Luo to handle. Of course, the players recognized the manager, but they couldn't help but have some doubts in their hearts, because they all felt that Luo did not have the ability to break through with the ball. And in the recent training, there has been no training in this area. Luo's training is basically a no-ball running position, plus some passing and cutting cooperation. I know that everyone is confused, don't wait until you get to the field. Lao Luo showed everyone his ability, everyone will understand it for 10. In order to ensure that everything goes well, Liu Yi has a chance to find a toilet, take out his laptop to log into the game, and raise Luo's dribbling from 15 to 17, and the improvement of the technical class only costs 200 points of prestige. Now Ronaldo is already a technology 17, dribbling 17, explosive power and speed double 17 super breakthrough machine, the opposite of Reece James, not known for speed, facing such a Ronaldo, think about the end. It's exciting. In the Longwell live broadcast room, Zhang Jun and Zhang Ji are chatting. The recent Manchester United games have played well, and one big win after another, so that more and more people stay up late to watch the ball. Less than 10 minutes before the start of the match, the starting rosters of both sides were announced. Zhang Jun, let's take a look at the home team Chelsea's roster first. The goalkeeper, still the Sergar Mendy, the back line of Charloba, Silva, Rudiger, 3 centre-backs swing open. Midfielder right wing-back Reece James, the lad said something at the press conference, presumably to make the players on the United side angry. Backs Kanté and Jorginho, left wing-back Chilwell. On the left of the front, on the left is Chi, on the right is the German youngster Werner. Playing against Juventus in the Champions League is just a change from Werner. Zhang guided, unfortunately, it is not Lukaku, otherwise the grudge between the two sides will be a bit interesting. Zhang Jun, Zhang instructed you that this is also to see the hilarity is not afraid of big things. Let's continue to look at the starting list of Manchester United. Before Liu Yi said to let Luo play the left winger, see if it is a smoke bomb. Goalkeeper, the number 1 Spanish goalkeeper, David De Gea. On the back line, Lau Moen-Bissaka, in the middle is Varana's partner Maguire, and on the left is Luke Shaw. At the back is Fred partner Scott McTominay, one offering coverage, one offering confrontation. Let's look at the front, left winger Cristiano Ronaldo. It turns out to be true. Can Ronaldo still do what he once did? Let's see. Middle fee, Sancho on the right, because Cavani is out due to injury. United's arrow is Marcus Rashford. Zhang guided, the formation of 4231 is correct. Is it that the position of Master Law and Luo is wrong? Zhang Jun, after a while, the game starts, we will know. In the small talk between the two, they expressed their doubts, not to mention the fans, who did not understand this operation at all. Even Luo's fans admitted that now his ability to have the ball has declined sharply, but football is not just a breakthrough with the ball. The game was about to start. Tuchel, standing on the sidelines, was a little confused, and turned his head to look at Liu Yi on the other side. This Dragon Kingdom boy was doing a Vice 10 ghost? How dare he put the current Luo in the position of the left road, this must be a tactical deception. Liu Yi paid no attention to him, seized the last time, and explained a few words to Fei. You have to stay in midfield most of the time, and if I can't find you today when I pass the ball in midfield, then you're ready to sit on the bench. Boss, I understand. Be bothered to be convinced, there was no dissatisfaction, he himself knew his problems, but before there was no way, the coach arranged his large-scale activities, and more shots to participate in the attack. One coach and one style of play, now the child should return to the normal midfield seeker's range of activities. Referee Anthony Taylor blew the whistle at the start of the game and, notably, he also blew the match in which Liverpool beat Manchester United by 5 goals. In the Longwell live broadcast room, Jean June and Jean Guide began to work. Welcome to the 2021-2022 season, the 13th round of the Premier League, Manchester United's away game against Chelsea. Jean June and Jean Coach sent you commentary. I'm Director Jean, hey. On the field, Luo is indeed standing in the position of the left winger, and the opposite is exactly the right side of Chelsea, Lewis James. This young man does not know what kind of monster he will face, a face of high morale, to give Luo a little color to see the supergiant. Marcus Rashford kicked the ball to BF. Chelsea's players pressed forward and BF went back to Varane at the back. Darren looked ahead, the formation was fully swinging, a long pass straight over the top of the ball, passed behind Reece James, which was a bit too much. Cristiano, punch the duck. C. Luo heard the shout of the boss behind him, and rushed forward quickly. He suddenly found that he ran extra fast today, and his body was much more relaxed. 3 steps and 2 steps left Reece James behind, and the young general did not leave C. Ronaldo behind. Rushing out for more than 10 meters, C. Luo controlled the ball under his feet, tried to do a bicycle action, extra silky smooth, and his heart could not help but be a little excited. In the Longwell live broadcast room, Jean June has begun to explain passionately. C. Luo rushed up, explosive power and speed crushed a young general who was 14 years younger than him, monster-like physical fitness, controlled the ball under his feet, slightly hesitated. Reece James is already in place. This young man's defensive ability is still good. Beautiful handsome cow tail, C. Luo a handsome cow tail, wearing the crotch of Reece James. The ball has been divided, easily past James, just this one round, Reece James defeated. Ronald's signature heel bump, inside cut, has gone into his range. Fei and Rashford in the middle, Sancho at the far end is in place. Shooting, beautiful football flying like a white rainbow through the sun, straight to the dead corner. Chelseaman God Mendy helpless, can only look at the ball and sigh. The commentator at the scene of the game shouted out Luo's name in the loudest voice. The goal is Cristiano Ronaldo. More than 6,000 Manchester United away fans, shouting in unison, followed by a cheer and applause. Chelsea fans were a little dazed, and it was only 40 seconds after the opening that the team was behind. Episode 85. Reece, get your spirits up. Tuchel roared at Reece James on the sidelines. This kid played so well in the last game, he was fine before this game, how to pull his crotch as soon as he played. By this time, Tuchel didn't know it was Luo who was too strong, he just thought the young man had just played, so he was a little distracted. Luo breathed twice and also gave up the opportunity to shoot from inside the goal. The most important thing was that the ball went in. In fact, Chelsea's players also feel that this is an accident. See, Ronaldo is a veteran after all, and there can be several such runs. In the live broadcast room, the camera continuously replays Luo's goals, from the beginning of the ball to shake off James, and then in the ball state of a beautiful crotch over, followed by the heel bumping out of the shooting space. The last powerful shot put a perfect end to this one-man attack. Liu Yi waved his fist vigorously, and after celebrating passionately, he looked at Tuchel. Hearing him roar at Reece James, almost laughing outright, this is not a problem of the young man's lack of concentration, but it is really unbearable. The referee blew the game whistle again, and Chelsea's players were visibly unconvinced. You 36-year-old comrade, actually attacked us a 21-year-old boy, is this good? This is not good. Chelsea took the ball and kept passing it in midfield, trying to find United's flaws through passes. At this time, people have noticed that Luo has returned to the 30 meters area of Manchester United's side like a winger, and they can't help but be surprised. You know, players like Messi have always had the privilege of not defending, or reducing defense. The ball passed to Kante's feet. As one of the best midfielders in the world, although he had slipped a bit due to injury in the past 2 years, he was still not allowed to be surprised. Perhaps because of the injury in the last game, Kante looked tired and unable to play freely on the court. Fred came up to press and Kante passed the ball to Jorginho, who had already found a passing route and adjusted it slightly. The ball crossed Sancho's head and appeared at the feet of Hudson-Odoi, who did not wait for the ball to stop and passed straight forward in the air. At the top, Werner, the spokesman for Chelsea's happy football, unsurprisingly appeared in position. Just as he was about to shoot, Barney appeared in front of him, stretching out his long legs with great speed and stabbing the ball away from Werner's feet. Chelsea fans cover their faces with their hands together and then sigh in unison. Fred squeezed Kanté, controlled the ball at his feet, looked at Luo on the left, had withdrawn to receive it, and suddenly thought of the boss's words, and did not hesitate to pass the ball to see Ronaldo. Reece James took advantage of Rowe to catch the ball and rushed out from behind, trying to steal the ball from his feet while Rowe was not paying attention. At the moment of contact between the two sides, Reece James showed some smiles on his face, and he knew that Luo was old and slow to react, and this ball was left by himself. However, the smile soon froze on his face, and Luo slammed the ball with a crisp heel, and the man rushed over from the other side of James, and a man with a back split the ball. Easily and stealthily leaving James behind, it is almost impossible to catch up, and when James turns around, he was already 5 meters away from Luo. It was Jorginho who helped him defend Cristiano Ronaldo, and it was very uncomfortable to watch Ronaldo constantly change direction in the ball. Constantly pedaling the bike under his feet, before the others came to let go, he suddenly made the ball to the left. Jorginho's body immediately moved to the left, but the football was hooked back by Ronaldo and protruded to the right. Jorginho, who had lost his center of gravity, barely twisted his body back, but fell to the ground unsteadily. The three centre-back faced Kaloba, like a great enemy, did not dare to relax in the slightest, and Reece James behind him was in a desperate pursuit. Kanté, on the other side, has also returned to his position, and the king has formed a bad clip for Luo. Just when everyone thought that Luo was going to break through, Luo picked the ball up directly and passed it towards Sanyang in the far goalpost. The ball accurately crossed the top of Chelsea's Rudiger's head, and Sancho did not hesitate to raise his foot to shoot, but unfortunately the football hit the surface. After being hit by Mendito, the ball hit the crossbar and headed in the direction of the middle of the penalty area. Master Law, who was outside the forbidden area, wanted to rush back and there were several people around him looking at him, but he couldn't jump up at all. At this moment, a person outside the camera suddenly kills in, jumps high, heads the ball back, and the ball bounces on the ground, past Mendy's body, and stops at Chelsea's goal. Who else is not Ronaldo? Luo, who was lying on the ground, quickly got up and rushed to the side of the field to celebrate, which made people feel a little trance for a moment, as if it was not 36-year-old Luo on the field now, but 26-year-old him. In the Longwell live broadcast room, Jean Jun couldn't help but feel the same. Luo is running on the field like that, passing people, header, and then scores, just like he has never aged in these 10 years. Just over 10 minutes later, the score had turned to 0-2, and Chelsea didn't even have a single shot on goal, completely devoid of the dominance of the Premier League. Chelsea are too polite to Low, they should step up their confrontation and not let the game fall into United's knots. Reece James can't stop Ronaldo, someone has to help him, otherwise Ronaldo will score. Chelsea can't stop Manchester United, who else can we expect? Episode 86. Chelsea fans, as Cristiano Ronaldo celebrated, began to shout loudly. Messi, Messi, Messi. Messi is the best in the world. Messi is going to get the 7th golden ball. There is no doubt that he wants to provoke Luo, a person in anger, maybe he will do something irrational, the red card will go down. Unfortunately, over the years, when Luo is angry, it is often when the ball is not smooth, or when the game is lost. When winning, it is often a very tolerant and funny person. What's more, Luo has long been used to it, whether it is home or away all these years, he will always hear these voices, he can't stop others from talking, all he can do is respond to each other with goals. Since you won't shut up, then use goals to shut you up, one goal after another, until you don't dare to open your mouth. The camera was on Lowe's face, and he could be seen clapping in the direction of the United fans with some smiles. Manchester United fans began to sing Viva Ronaldo, this exclusive Ronaldo fan song. The Chelsea fans immediately stopped working, and the whole stadium erupted in strong boos to interfere with the singing of Manchester United fans, which is their own home stadium. Where can these Manchester United fans be arrogant? The game went on, the two sides had to fight in midfield, and the action became bigger and bigger. As the commentators said, the Chelsea players were too polite to Low, so now they're starting to increase their efforts, and within 5 minutes Raul suffered 3 tackles. The referee only gave a warning, but also let the Chelsea players begin to reassure. It seems that today's referee's whistle is also the soft one. 30 minutes into the game, Chelsea finally had their first shot. Kanté went straight to Hudson-Odoi on the left, and Hudson-Odoi made a fake move to bypass Maguire and sweep the ball to the middle. Werner, who grabbed the first point, did not hesitate to pull out his foot and shoot furiously, and a long leg reached out on his side and blocked the ball out of the bottom line. Barney, he has done meritorious service again. At a time when Maguire made a serious mistake, Barney used his strong personal ability to help United hold the goal again. Chelsea welcomed the first corner of the game, and Manchester United have been problematic in corner defence this season, as well as in previous seasons, conceding goals on a regular basis. Now that you finally have such a rare opportunity, you naturally have to make good use of it. Unlike Manchester United, almost the corner tactic is to find Maguire, a ball cannot be scored, do not understand the change, as if everyone is mixed up together. Tuchel helped Chelsea, designed 5 corner tactics, players can choose which one to use according to the opponent's state and the situation on the field. The corner kick came out and was a tactical corner, and the ball reached the foot of Medigue, looking to be crossed, but the last kick reached the top of the arc. In the battle with Fred, Jorginho grabbed the ball and volleyed directly into the air. The football was lightning fast and went straight to the goal, and the Chelsea fans, one by one, had already stood up and were ready to start cheering and celebrating the goal, but some people said no. A pair of gloved hands, appearing under the beam, punched the ball out with their fists. De Gea's body, falling heavily to the ground, watched the football fly out of the box, and did not dare to slow down, quickly climbed up. The football was controlled by Liu outside the penalty area, and without defense, he did not hesitate to start running with the ball, and in the middle of the road, Rashford ran out of the phantom with his legs running out of the ball. Buffon and Sancho also quickly stepped forward to prepare to receive Cristiano Ronaldo's pass. Fred and McTominay and midfielders also followed suit, and in just a dozen seconds, they switched from a defensive formation to an attacking state. Delaney commanded the entire defensive line to press forward, and it was too dangerous to press the opposing attack group away from his own forbidden area. Ronaldo dodged Cantor's pull-and-pull defense, leaving him far behind. Looking ahead, the football under his feet was always one step away, and at a very fast speed, Liu controlled the ball steadily. Reece James and Jorginho came up from the left and right, ready to give Ronaldo a man to pass the ball. Facing the two, Liu gasped for breath, his legs quickly stepped on the bicycle, suddenly fell to his feet, the football broke through the gap between the two people, and then Liu himself also rushed over. Reece James directly slipped the shovel, but the shovel was lonely, and Ronaldo had already caught up with the ball in 3 steps and 2 steps. In the live broadcast room of Longua, Jean-Jun's voice suddenly increased, James and Jorginho were passed by Liu, and now the front court is a 4-on-4 situation, and Chelsea's players are desperately chasing back, but it seems to be useless. On the sidelines, Liu Yi watched Liu Long rush out more than 70 meters, continuously break free of his opponent's defense, and appear on the edge of the penalty area. Karopa, a centre-back who had been passed by Liu before, did not dare to be slow and greeted him again to prevent Liu from entering the penalty area. Entering the penalty area is naturally unnecessary. Liu repeated the same trick, the same as a bicycle pedal, dodged a shooting gap, decisively got up to shoot. The kick, with unparalleled strength, bounced into the goal at the angle between the beam and the goalpost. The whole goal was shaking, and it was enough to see how terrifying the power of Liu's foot shot was. It was Cristiano Ronaldo who scored the goal with an extremely wonderful long run of more than 70 meters, scoring his 3rd goal of the game and scoring a hat-trick in 30 minutes. Who said he couldn't be a left winger? Who said he lost the ability to dribble, lost the ability to break through? Let's see this man who is afraid of cloth. On the pitch, Ronaldo ran while making a downward pressure gesture with his palm, signaling Chelsea fans to be quiet. On the sidelines, Liu Yi smiled satisfactorily while applauding Liu. Episode 87. To keep going, Chelsea launched a desperate counterattack with the remaining 10 minutes. 11 players on the field began to press wildly, sparing no effort to compete in a wide range. For a time, it caused a lot of chaos for Manchester United, and even Ronaldo returned to his own 30-meter area and began to defend seriously, leaving only Rashford a counterattack point in the front. But it was like this, Rashford's 2 counterattacks directly crushed Silva and Rudiger with speed, making these two dare not be too far ahead. Unfortunately, the Stamford Bridge goalpost, which would never give face to the Manchester United players, Marcus Rashford shot with 2 feet and gained 2 goalposts. When the second kick hit the goalpost, even he laughed out loud, which was a bad luck. In just 10 minutes, Chelsea launched a fierce attack, shooting a total of 6 feet at the goal, 2 feet on target, but they were all blocked by Varane, and De Gea did not even move. In the Dragon Kingdom live broadcast room, Jean-Jun and Jean Guidance praised Varane's performance. Varane said before, let the Chelsea players see the Manchester United defense, now it seems that he is really confident. Hey, one of the best players in the first half, he can even do the work of 2 people alone, compared to the 80 million Maguire, like a number. Maguire should be careful, if he goes on like this, it is estimated that his position will not be saved, and Lindelof will see him again. On the pitch, a minute of stoppage time in the first half, because the game was relatively smooth, there were no injuries or anything like that. Seeing that it was in stoppage time, Ronaldo, with the cooperation of Luke Shaw, snatched the ball from the feet of Reece James and passed it to Buffet didn't even stop the ball, passing directly to the front. Ronaldo also thought of this, so he immediately rushed forward after the pass. The left side of the Chelsea penalty area, Kanté, and left centre-back Charloba, staring dead at Ronaldo, absolutely cannot let him break through again. It is too terrible, and even some people began to blame Reece James in their hearts. You said that you will be blind, BB. What? Directly activated a monster, who can stand it? Luo's continuous cycling, at this moment seems to be back to more than 10 years ago, which is known as Luo's feathered teenager. The years have made him more mature, but it seems that the ball machine is completely retained. Kanté and Charloba, as well as Reece James, who chased him back, were all guarding against Cristiano Ronaldo's shots and breakthroughs. No one noticed that after a fancy little move, Luo suddenly picked up the ball and the ball flew over the heads of the two men. The moment the two turned around, the explosive power of Luo up to 17 was vividly displayed at this moment, rushing ahead of the two and going to the top of the middle road. Fegao jumped up in the middle, but did not top the ball. This jump deflected Thiago Silva's position, and even Mendy moved his position with it. Rashford, who was hiding behind Faye, did not waste the opportunity this time, and without anyone watching, slammed the ball into the goal with his thigh. The commentators began to roar, and the commentators of various genres showed their might. Cristiano Ronaldo, with a clever assist, helped his little brother Leisure to get the ball. This is rational analytics. Invincible, unbeatable, the strongest man in football, Cristiano Ronaldo, his performance is not over. It's the passionate beast roaring pie. Cristiano, like King Arthur who drew his sword out of stone, bestows glory and victory on his followers, and Rashford accepts the king's gift. It's lyrical. Marcus Rashford shot and the ball went into goal. This is the lung capacity amazing roar pie. In this attack, Rowe occupied at least 6 layers of credit, the remaining Buffet accounted for 2 layers, Rashford occupied 2 layers. Rashford did not kneel, but came to see Ronaldo's side, knelt on one knee, lifted Ronaldo's just assisted foot, and made a shoe polishing action. Reece James, standing not far away, with his hands crossed at the waist of the celebratory Manchester United player, was a little dazed. Why is this so? In his heart, Luo, who was already dying of old age, was already a tasteless and discarded chicken rib player, and he was so powerful. And the best in his heart is still struggling in League One so far. The bold words before the start of the game had long been passed by again and again, destroyed again and again, destroyed this time, and now he had some fear in his heart. In the second half, I don't know how many humiliations I have to suffer, it is too terrible. After Manchester United celebrated, referee Taylor did not give Chelsea a chance to kick off, and directly blew the whistle at the end of the game. It is said that Chelsea's defense is unbreakable, but it took United just one half to double the number of goals conceded by Chelsea, from 4 to 8. And Manchester United and Ronaldo's performances are not over, there are still 45 minutes off work, and Tuchel's countermeasures. Causing all this, the men in front of Manchester United and Ronaldo, Liu Yi, are hugging the players one by one and praising their first half performances. In the Longwell live broadcast room, Jean Jun couldn't help but feel that it is said that one will be incompetent and exhaust the 3 armies. The previous Manchester United is this state, but with the arrival of our Liu Yi, look at the players of Manchester United, the whole has been upgraded by a grade, which is too good. Zhang also couldn't help but joke, now other teams in the Premier League, but hate Klopp, everyone is a scientific rope, the result is that you are so fierce, let Manchester United directly exchange for such a fierce role. Jean Jun is a Liverpool fan, and he can only smile bitterly at this. Episode 88. Chelsea have not lost before, but they have never lost so much, so desperately, so helpless. Inside the home team's locker room, no one spoke, only people were hurrying to replenish their water, and their eyes were on Tuchel. Even if they lost to Manchester City before, it was just a goal, and Chelsea was not without a chance to win the game. But from the very beginning, Chelsea were behind and didn't even have a chance to fight back. Often after Chelsea pressed up, United would respond with a goal. Tuchel rubbed his hair and began to make some arrangements for the second half of the game. Reece, in the second half you cut back and concentrate on coming back to defend Ronaldo, and we play at the back 5. Reece James nodded, in fact, he inserted very little before the first half, completely suppressed by Ronaldo in the half. Think about the game, social media, and journalists, as well as fans, will surely bring up the words of their previous interviews. Kanté and Jorginho pay attention to the protection of the back, we can't concede the ball again. In the second half we attacked with long passes and direct passes, so Romelu, Lukaku, in the second half you have to play, suppress the United defense and then we play on Maguire's side. Lukaku has only played a good game since returning to Chelsea, and the rest is either injury or on the bench, and it is not easy to get a chance now. Now that I am facing the old club, it is natural to perform well. After all, when I left Manchester United, I was still a little unhappy. I'll put pressure on the opposing line. Lukaku confidently stood up and patted himself on the chest. Werner silently lowered his head, because since Lukaku was going to play, it was only possible to replace him. Considering his own performance in the first half, he felt Oklahoma, but with some bad luck. But the coach doesn't seem to think so. No team is invincible, so Manchester United is no exception, and if Manchester United just changes a manager, am I inferior to them? Think about what kind of mentality we have before the game. Don't lose this strong mentality, and then go to the game. We think that the first half has been lost, and in the second half we start a new game and win. Tuchel began to boost morale, saying something that would stir people's hearts, and the atmosphere in the dressing room began to become a little more relaxed, unlike the despair and frustration that he had just come into. In the away team locker room next door, the atmosphere is completely different, and when everyone comes, there is still a little nervousness. After all, it was Chelsea, the top of the Premier League, who conceded only 4 goals, last season's Champions League title, the last game, crushed Juventus' strong team. And Liu Yi play the left winger, undertaking the main attack task, which also made everyone feel a little muttering. They didn't doubt Rowe's strength, but from recent games and training, they felt that Lowe should go close to the middle and directly threaten the opposite goal. It is only the loyalty and trust of Liu Yi that makes them accept this tactic, and the strength shown by Liu in the game is simply beyond everyone's imagination. Even Liu himself did not think that he was old enough to play football in this way. Sure enough, the person who knows himself best is often not himself, but the coach. In the first half, everyone performed well, and in the second half the other side should strengthen the defense on the basis of going up to Lukaku to do the fulcrum of the front, and of course we have to continue to attack together. Mike was at the end of the second half. Fred played a single back, Jesse lingered, came on close to Sancho's side, but to provide more coverage and pressure, you and Bruno, Beefy, have to add a lot of running to force the opponent. Neither of them had anything to say, and now Liu Yi's authority could not allow them to question it. Cristiano, continue to play on the left side in the second half, use your breakout and passes, tell that kid at Chelsea what the best in the world is. Liu Yi looked at Liu with a smile and a squint, but in the hearts of the players present, it seemed that he was really a demon, which was really terrible. Reece James is just a few casual words, and he will suffer from the coach and see Ronaldo, thanks to the fact that he is not an opponent. Harry Maguire will definitely play your side in the second half. I hope you can stand up to the other side. Varane will help you. Maguire nodded silently. Since Varane had come to the team, he could feel his shortcomings in all aspects. I originally thought it was myself and Varane who were partners, but I didn't expect that there was a high probability of turning myself into the substitute now. Isn't there something to do to increase the manager's confidence and prove his loyalty to Manchester United and the coach? In terms of tactics, everyone is doing a good job in normal training. As long as we play out the level of usual training, then we can beat any opponent. Of course, now we lead 4-0 in the first half, and whoever gives me the whole life in the second half doesn't mind putting him on the bench and being calm. The players, who were originally a little proud and relaxed, heard the serious voice of the coach and suddenly calmed down. 15 minutes into the midfield passed quickly, and Liu Yi stood in the middle of the locker room with a hand outstretched. Our slogan is one hand after another, pressed on Liu Yi's hand, everyone shouted 3 times in unison. Attack harder, advance more cool. Attack harder, advance more cool. Attack harder, advance more cool. Tuchel, who had just come out of the locker room next door, heard the sound of this breath through the rainbow, and his face couldn't help but look ugly for a few minutes. Outside the stadium, some of the recovered Chelsea fans began to sing the true colors of my gate. Blue, our dreams. Football, our sport. Unity and victory is our goal. Liu Yi, who came out of the players' tunnel, just came out of his head and heard the booing of the mountain and the tsunami, which was Cheyushi Chiomi expressing his attitude towards him. I hope you can still bring up the spirit of boo after a while. Liu Yi silently prayed for them in his heart. Episode 89. In the Longwell live broadcast room, Jean-June and Jean Coach once again appeared in the eyes of the fans, and the referee on the pitch had already blown the whistle at the beginning of the second half. Welcome back, it's the second half of Manchester United's away game against Chelsea, and Jean-June and Jean continue to explain to everyone. Jean-June also read an advertising slogan after his opening remarks. Jean began to enter the rhythm of the game. Hey, Liu is already 3 goals and 1 assist, still has not been replaced. It seems that today Liu Yi killed a lot of awe. Jean-June also began to explain the game. Under McTominay, Schanglinger used a lot of running to solve Fred's defensive pressure, which is also a good move. On the Chelsea side, Werner, who wasted 2 chances in the first half, was replaced by former Manchester United player Lukaku, who wanted to use Lukaku to rush Maguire. If Maguire is paired with Lindelof, maybe Chelsea's approach will work, but in Varane state, I'm afraid Lukaku will be very difficult to pass. With the explanation of the two people, the game on the field is also going on, and after the two sides have competed in the first half, the second half has not even been tested, straight to the point. On the United side, Cristiano Ronaldo took the ball directly and rushed to the side of Reece James's defense, and as a defensive player, he had to rush up. Kanté was busy and had to help him defend, and the centre-back Keropa was also vigilant, and when he saw Ronaldo killed, he took the initiative to lean over to this side. Often, Luo alone with the ball can be exchanged for the other party's 3 people's bag clips, so that the gap of other friends will be exposed. If it weren't for Faye and Jesse Lingard's footsteps, it is estimated that he would have scored again. Flexibly pedaling the bicycle under his feet, Reece James was dazzled, but he did not dare to easily get out of his feet, and Luo's explosive power was too terrible. Let him have the illusion that the 36-year-old Ronaldo's explosive power is stronger than Sula's. Reece James was engrossed, focused on Luo and the ball, as long as the opponent did not drop him, and his requirements were not high. Unfortunately, Ronaldo's purpose is to get over him. The body rushed to the left, making the appearance of going to the bottom. Reece James rushed up to block the route. Luo suddenly pulled the ball, and pulled the body back. Reece James's body twisted back, already losing his center of gravity, and he sat down on the ground, watching Luo rush past him. "What are you doing?" Cantor's voice came from his ear, causing him to quickly get up and chase after Luo. Ronaldo has reached the edge of the penalty area, which, according to past practice, has entered the area of Luo Kai's cannon, and the attention of goalkeeper Mendy has been fully focused on this side. Unfortunately, the current Luo is no longer the same as he used to be. After the hat-trick, his desire to score has dropped a little. With a little brother bar heel to knock the ball to Faye, he rushed towards the inside of the box, attracting 3 defenders. Faye looked at Ronaldo, but actually used the instep of his outside foot to pass the ball to Lingard on the side, who adjusted slightly and picked up the football with his toes. The ball made a perfect arc in the air and fell into the dead corner of the goal, and although Mendy made a save, he stood far away and did not touch the ball. Before the game, some people thought that Manchester United might win, but no one thought that they would completely destroy Chelsea with such a devastated situation. Chelsea's counter-attack came, and after kickoff from midfield, Lukaku passed the ball to Jorginho and then rushed forward himself. Jorginho did not hesitate to make a long pass. Lukaku and Maguire failed to compete for the top. The football was pushed back to midfield by Maguire, and the nearest Kanté, controlling the ball. Lukaku has bypassed Maguire and rushed into the Manchester United penalty area. At the moment when he just sped up, Kanté's straight ball had appeared at his feet. Everything was just right. Even Liu Yi on the sidelines couldn't help but exclaim, "Kanté's pass was really good." Unfortunately, Lukaku overestimated his speed, and when he had just thrown Maguire away and was preparing to shoot on the wheel, the football in front of him was directly selected by a big long leg. Darani once again defended the defense. On the other side, Luke Shaw controlled the football, looked at the rushing Chayek, resisted the opponent with his body, passed the ball to Reece James, who rushed up to assist Ronaldo, saw Ronaldo take the ball straight to himself, and immediately felt a burst of heart and anger. How many times has this been, without such a bully? Because he was in the retreat, times crisp big stride, relying on speed to crush Reece James, and carry the ball away. Reece James bit and chased from behind, 30 meters from the goal, in front of Kaloba. Ronaldo began to shake his body, trying to break through from the front. At this moment, there was a thick breathing sound behind him, followed by a pair of feet from behind, directly on the calf, a strong sense of impact, bringing huge pain. The spikes were directly on the calf, but it was no joke. Luo let out a scream, and the whole person fell to the ground, and began to roll in pain, one hand squeezing the calf, the other hand constantly pounding the ground. The referee just saw clearly, and quickly signaled the team doctor to enter the field, and some blood stains had appeared on Ronaldo's socks. Faye angrily rushed over to Reece James, scolding and grinning, "Do you want to kill?" Liu Yi was also on the sidelines, angrily carrying a foot in the chair. If Luo really had a good villain, Liu Yi would not spare you. The players on the United side, even De Gea at the back, rushed up, and the others were even angrier. Maguire sensed the opportunity to express herself, and while separating the others, who got the money, she angrily entered the crowd with eyes on Reece James. "You're a little cub, are you here to play football or to scrap people?" Chelsea's players, hurry to separate the two sides. This time do not dare to fight, with that kind of shadow, is too bad. The team doctor had finished spraying a bottle of chloroethane frozen spray, temporarily alleviating Luo's pain, pulling off the retired socks, and seeing several clear blood marks. Fortunately, they were all skin trauma. and there was no wound to the bones, which also made the team doctors breathe a sigh of relief. Darren also made a skin trauma gesture to the sidelines. Liu Yi calmed down, and the skin trauma was rested for a few days, but it didn't matter. Referee Taylor, confirmed by the video referee, showed Reece James a red card. The young man walked down the field with his head bowed, and from his hurried steps, it could be seen that a kind of release of the female loose mouth was in it. Episode 90. Looking at this young man, his face was dejected. Liu Yi was a little too careless to go. Hurry over and pat Reece James on the shoulder and comfort him. It's not your fault, it's just that Cristiano is the best in the world. Reece James almost cried when he heard it, especially if it weren't for this matter. See, Luo would have stared at himself alone. Back in his coaching seat, Liu Yi signaled to replace Luo, and the skin injury was also injured. Thousands of Manchester United fans, singing Ronaldo's ballad, Ronaldo deliberately went around and thanked them. Getting the chance to play was Van der Beek, who continued to increase his control in the midfield, and the real striker, leaving only Marcus Rashford alone. In addition to sending off Reece James, the referee awarded United a free kick from 30 meters away. This kind of long-range free kick, only Marcus Rashford can now come on the court, and everyone has given him the opportunity. Rashford recently consulted with Ronaldo for free kicks in private, which can also be regarded as some experience. Learning Luo's appearance stood up straight, he took 5 steps back seriously, and his eyes looked in the direction of the door. The referee whistled, Rashford began to run, the inside of the shoe kicked in the middle and lower half of the football, and the ball suddenly rose from the standstill, like a cannonball fired from the chest. Everyone thought that when the ball was high, more than 10 meters away from the goal, the football suddenly began to descend sharply and went straight to the goal. Elevator ball. To enter. Pity. In the Dragon Kingdom live broadcast room, Jean Jun changed 3 emotions in one breath. Ending with the football smashing on the crossbar and popping up, the Chelsea fans were scared out of a cold sweat, and now with one less person, if you are put into another one, it is really a tragedy. Rashford lowered his head with some chagrin, and it was almost a little bit that he could hit it. Marcus, good job. The coach's voice came from his ear, and Rashford looked up and saw Liu Yi clapping at him and then giving him a thumbs up. Chelsea goal ball, and the game went on. But before kickoff, right-back Azpilicueta replaced striker Ziyech to stabilize the defense. The goal kick came out and Chelsea's defenders went back and forth to their feet several times at the back, and the midfielders simply couldn't get the demand. Manchester United's current midfield 5-man group, except for Sancho running a little worse, the remaining 4 are a wide range of running demons. Buffet, Jesse Lingard, Van der Beek, Fred. These 4 people, the body is not a strong kind, but it is the Chelsea cannot pass the midfield. You can only go to the front court with your big feet and let Lukaku and Maguire fight for the top, or play behind Maguire. Maguire's other can't do it, only the header is at the top of the line, at least the Premier League's top level, but this is Lukaku's weakness. Throughout the second half, Chelsea had only 2 shots on goal, and a long-range shot from Kanté allowed De Gea to move his body and not stay too long to catch a cold. Chelsea took control of the ball and Kanté passed the ball back to Jorginho, who was not paying attention, and Jesse Lingard had already grabbed it. Immediately leaning against Jesse Lingard, a beautiful ball pull turned around, leaving Lingard behind, and Schunter pushed the ball straight behind Van der Beek and Wan-Bissaka. Hudson-Odoi has accelerated to start sprinting, and if he can get the ball, it is definitely a good chance. Unfortunately, it was doomed to be unattainable, and Varane, the god of the backline, appeared exactly where he should have appeared and controlled the ball. When Hudson-Odoi pounced on it, the ball had reached the foot of Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka had just taken 2 steps when he suddenly remembered what the coach had said, "You boy dares to take the ball blindly in the back and break your leg." Frightened, cold sweat came out, quickly passed the ball to Van der Beek, and looked at the side of the court. The coach did not seem to be dissatisfied, which was reassuring. Van der Beek is famous for his hot foot on the ball, taking the ball and turning it around and directly to Fred, Fred shifting to Luke Shaw on the flank. Luke Shaw took a step and was opposite Mount, who replaced Chilwell. Without the thought of getting too entangled with the other side, Faye had already appeared in the receiving position, and Kanté, who was a little tired not far from him, was running over. In front of Luke Shaw, there was also Lingard, who ran back widely, and Luke Shaw chose to pass the ball to Lingard, who passed back to B. The Beefy was transferred to the feet of Sang-Yong, who passed on Silky and Silky to Van der Beek. With incredibly smooth and silky passes, Chelsea's players can only be exhausted, and they are already 1 less person, and the pressure is even greater at the moment. Even Lukaku has been able to defend his own half, but this is destined to be a strong contender for the best goal of the week. Successive passes finally tore a hole in Chelsea's heavily defended defense. Luke Shaw, who came up on the left, passed the ball to Jesse Lingard, who sent the ball into the foot of Marcus Rashford in the penalty area, who did not have any idea of playing because he had his back to the goal, and the first to receive the pass to the front of the fee. Faye obliquely gave Sancho in the right penalty area. Sancho crossed directly to the penalty spot, killed Van der Beek from behind, unguarded, and easily scored the ball. Mendy, the god of Chelseamen who couldn't even make a save, took the ball out with both hands and kicked it into the stands. He was really depressed, and the whole game had a feeling that he couldn't make out of power. In the Longwell live broadcast room, Jean June and Jean Guide, the commentary is still full of passion, without the slightest sense of tiredness. Good ball, the Japanese want to come to the beautiful football that used to be Kosenai. It's about passing the ball into the goal. I don't know if there have been any numbers, how many feet Manchester United have passed before the goal. Chelsea can't do anything, he. The score was rewritten to 0-5, how noisy the Manchester United fans were, how sad and quiet the Chelsea fans were. Episode 91. Before the game, no one thought that it would be such a result, even the most optimistic Manchester United fans. After all, Chelsea have proved their strength and tenacity with one game after another, and they are not vain. The ball slaughtered Juventus, leaving Juventus without a chance, and it was a game that conveyed a strong belief to Manchester United before this game. Despite United's big wins, no one would consider Villarreal and Juventus to be a team of the same class. With the last 20 minutes of the game, United's attack was still like a tidal wave, lapping at Chelsea's crumbling backline. Liu Yi's eyes swept over the bench, and Greenwood looked at the pitch with green eyes. He really wanted to play. But look at the teammates on the field, which one can he replace? Mason, get ready to play. Hearing his name, Greenwood quickly jumped off the bench, quickly changed his clothes, and came to the sidelines, warming up long ago, waiting for the game. Liu Yi patted him on the shoulder and said a few tactical arrangements in his ear, signaling the fourth official to prepare to replace the pitch, lingered seconds to pass Sancho. A kick was shot out of the bottom line by the goal. The sound of substitution sounded on the sidelines. Sancho looked at his own number, thinking that the time was almost up. The play was also very good, and the mood was a quick rest. Greenwood and Sonny high-fived, hurried to the court, and talked to everyone one by one. On the pitch, Manchester United's formation instantly changed. Rashi and Greenwood double forwards, one high and one fast. High is Rashford, fast is also Rashford behind them in a regular diamond-shaped position. Buffet in front, Fred in the back, Lingard on the left, Van der Beek on the right, but the position is not fixed. The position of these four except Fred, the position is constantly changing. In the Longwell live broadcast room, Zhang Ji is analyzing the subtleties of this for everyone. You may not be able to see it. Do you feel that it is not a transposition? There will be more transpositions. But the functions of four of them are not the same. Buffet is good at directing teammates through passing, Lingard is good at driving teammates through breakthroughs, Van der Beek requires teammates to constantly cooperate in a small range. In what case, who should be the main one? This is a lot of university to ask in it. What's more crucial is that even with such frequent changes in the core and location, Manchester United are always in order, everything is in order, and everyone who can do this often sees, that is, Manchester City's Pep Guardiola. There is also a predecessor of Liu Yi. Maybe Liu Yi learned from Sir Alex Ferguson, the four midfielders of Manchester United during the 92nd class, Giggs, Scholes, Beckham and Keane, and Liu Yi's current thinking is the same. How to keep it not chaotic. I also recently noticed that when Luo is on the field, these people's attack and defense are basically guided by Luo. Naturally it will not be chaotic, but when Luo is not present, it is Fred who pockets them for them, this player that everyone ignores, hee. Speaking of this, the audience suddenly realized that since Liu Yi became the Manchester United manager, Fred has played a lot of time. Perhaps this is really the truth. Jean June also went on to say a sentence, know how to play is very easy, but can play out of the flowers, that is difficult. We Liu Yi this level, that is really to open the door to the cow, bull to the home. Not only the commentators of the Dragon Kingdom praised Liu Yi, but even the commentators abroad began to worship Liu Yi, the rookie coach they had before, the waste from the Dragon Kingdom. Among the biggest reversals are Manchester United stars, Red Devils star Gary Neville, Sky Sports commentator. Liu's design and application of tactics has reached the point of pure fire, and these players of Manchester United except Ronaldo know that it is difficult to be called top-notch, but in Liu Yi's hands, they are top-notch. His old rival, his old colleague, Liverpool star Carragher, naturally could not look at Neville triumphantly. Gary, you didn't say that before, what Dragon Kingdom waste? When Gary Neville heard this, he immediately turned his face straight and said seriously to the camera, I have to admit that I made a huge mistake. I apologize to Liu Yi for my previous ignorance and shallowness. If possible, I want to invite him to dinner to express my gargle, and the people of Longwa are said to have done this. After speaking, Neville looked at Carragher again. I was still a little worried about whether Manchester United would be suppressed by Liverpool for several years. Now I can't wait to see the next encounter with Liverpool, and I have to thank Liverpool and Klopp for that. Carragher's face changed, and fans of all the Premier League teams were scolding Liverpool and Klopp. Only Manchester United fans are grateful to him. And Liverpool fans are mixed with taste, psychological difficulty. Although it is said that the 5-goal victory over the mortal enemy and the red card of the mortal enemy were also sent, it was a very cool game, but now it seems that once it is too cool, I am afraid that it will not be cool in the future. The match between Manchester United and Chelsea is still going on, but most people don't pay much attention to the game itself, but talk about United's new manager, the Red Devils. Liu Yi did not think so. He still carefully observed the changes on the court. Although the system has arranged the results of the game, he still has to do something, do what he can. At least you can increase your sense of existence, shine more on TV, and let your relatives and friends in Longqing look at themselves a few times. Mason, shoot. After Greenwood came on, he added a lot of coordination, and some of the shooting opportunities that were not very good in chances chose to pass the ball and temporarily stabilize the rhythm. If the team is in a stalemate, or in a passive situation, this choice is correct. But now with the big lead in the lead, there's nothing wrong with letting the lads shoot a few shots. As a player who can't do anything else, the first player to shoot, Greenwood has already itched his feet, and when he hears the coach's voice, he is immediately ecstatic. Just as Van der Beek passed a kick, looked up at the direction of the eyeball goal, the distance was about 20 meters, and directly raised his foot to shoot 100 million. Episode 92. This kick is the desire for a shot that Greenwood has accumulated for so long. The ball crossed Mendy's fingertips, smashed directly on the goalpost, and bounced into the penalty area, and the approaching Azpilicueta quickly controlled the ball and took it out of the danger zone. The Manchester United players did not expect that Greenwood would shoot at this time, at such a distance, and did not follow up with a supplementary shot for a while, and when he found that his shooting action was swinging open, it would be too late to rush up. Even so, this high-quality shot still made the Chelsea players break out in a cold sweat. Tuchel stood on the sidelines, shouting over and over again, reminding everyone to focus. Whatever the outcome, we're going to fight until the very end. Perhaps this is Chelsea, and it is also the proud spirit of Chelsea fans. When Mourinho was in the first period, he injected iron blood and tough style into the soul of this team. Lukaku once again failed against Maguire, simply pulled directly to the side. He is not a serious centre in his own way, very fond of pulling sides. There was also a saying at the time, small flat head, beer belly, professional winger Lukaku. And so there have been some conflicts between him and the coach. The coach can't think of it. What do you do when you are a centre forward? You did the work of the side road, so who will be the king of the centre's work? In Serie A, Lukaku had a good time, especially after adapting, scoring and assisting roles in. Chelsea spent €115 million to bring him back to the Premier League from Serie A before the start of the season, and the performance so far has been disappointing. If it weren't for Chelsea's constant driving backwards, defenders and midfielders constantly scoring goals to win Chelsea again and again, I am afraid that he would now be in the net exposure of Chelsea fans. When everything goes well, the fans' tolerance is higher, and Maguire's speed is slow, naturally dare not chase Lukaku out, but now Chelsea has one less person, the focus is still on defense, and it is often 3 or 2 people who can put in the attack. Your main centre doesn't want to carry people, so the 2 people in the midfield, Mount and Hudson-Odoi on the front line, where can they grab Varane? In the end, Lukaku's cross was directly pushed back to midfield by Varane, and Fred got the ball and handed it to be as soon as possible. Just because of the attack, Chelsea's formation has been slightly stretched out a bit, and it is precisely when the Beefy is needed to pass the threatening ball. Beefy did not wait for the football to stop, directly passed to Jesse Lingard on the left, Lin Huang broke through with the ball, and it was Marcus Rashford who ran in front of him. No matter which team, do not dare to allow Rashford to speed up. Kaloba followed him, from time to time to reach out and pull a hand. These are some small actions of the centre-back, not counting as 10 fouls. Jesse Lingard and Azpilicueta, who came on as a substitute, entered a one-on-one scene where the attacking players were often dominant because they charged head-on and the defenders had to turn. So Jesse Lingard took the ball directly and then went around Azpilicueta, who turned around and tried to pull him, but unfortunately the shirt was wet with sweat and slippery. Jesse Lingard managed to get the ball near the bottom line, as Azpilicueta has chased it back. As a tough fullback, he was once called the best by Gary Neville, professional attitude and fighting spirit, and Mourinho was full of praise. Even now in his 30s, it would be difficult for Jesse to get rid of him completely. Frowning, Lingard gave up continuing to break through. Now that the space is small, he is inferior in terms of physical confrontation. Immediately made a breakthrough fake action, passed the ball to the fee that came up to pick up, and Buffet passed the ball directly to the top of the arc area, and Van der Beek was already in place. The players who defended him were also very attentive, waiting for Van der Beek to shoot. But as an extremely clever player, Van der Beek directly raised his leg and let the football pass under his crotch, and the real shot was more than 3 meters behind Van der Beek's right. Greenwood rounded his thighs and kicked accurately at the ball. The soccer ball flew in through the cracks, the white light shot straight to the goal, and Mendy tried to stretch his body when he lost his position. Like a dolphin jumping out of the water, he pounced on the ball. The course of the football flight was changed, and Marcus Rashford, who was mixed in the crowd, stretched out his long legs and went straight to the football, subtly picking the football past Mendy on the ground. Seeing that the football was about to fall into the goal, from behind Rashford, he quickly stretched out a retreat and hooked the football out of the goal line. Former Paris captain, Brazil's legendary centre-back, veteran Silva, played his part. It's just good to die. The football didn't fly far, it landed a little bit outside the penalty area line. Greenwood didn't wait for the ball to fall sideways and stretched out his legs, very easy to get the ball back again. Standing on the goal line, Rudiger and Charloba collided with each other, desperately trying to push the ball out. Unfortunately, the god of football will not always take care of them. This time the football that Rudiger went out of the top was directly fixed on Rashford, and the football was rebounded into the net. Rashford didn't do anything, just stood in the crowd and scored a goal. Black face showed white teeth. From the heart of the happy on the sidelines to learn Luo's celebratory posture, came Liu Yi. The other players caught up and hugged to celebrate the 6th goal of the match. Mendy was in the middle of the goal, holding the football up, very much smashed his fist on the ground, looking up at the celebratory Manchester United players. His eyes were full of unwillingness. Episode 93. The game was over, and the referee did not even give a minute of stoppage time, which could have been at least 5 minutes according to the course of the second half. Taylor has always been considered a supporter of Manchester United and will sympathize with Manchester United in the game, but he can't watch it anymore. The end of the game whistled and Louis rushed over to shake hands with Tuchel. Congratulations to you and your team. Thank you. It has to be said that although Tuchel showed some aggression at the pre-match press conference, he recovered after the game, and the gentleman's brother congratulated Liu Yi. It is conceivable that when he said this, his psychological side was dripping blood. This is equivalent to being beaten half to death and congratulating the other party on his victory. Liu Yi took the players to the stands, and had a cordial and friendly interaction with the Manchester United fans who followed. If it were not for the security guards on the scene, it is estimated that there would be fans rushing down. Surrounded by players, Liu Yi raised a hand and waved to Chiao Miman to show his pride. There were also some fans from the Dragon Country in the stands, holding the national flag of the Dragon Country, hoping that 25 would let Liu Yi see. That bright red color was so dazzling no matter where it was. Liu Yi naturally saw it at a glance, deliberately raised his hands, and waved at them. All of this is captured by the camera, forming a series of photos and videos that will appear in a variety of news. In one of them, Liu Yi held his hands high, the players stood behind him and applauded, and the fans standing in the entire away team stand stood up and shook the scarves and Manchester United flags in their hands. The photograph was bought by Manchester United for $1,000, named the King and hung in the memorial at Old Trafford. Back in the dressing room, everyone simply celebrated, and this game with Chelsea brought Manchester United closer to the top of the table by 3 points, and Chelsea did not increase. At the end of the match, United had 26 points, and Liverpool beat Watford 4-0 in yesterday's game and are now 28 points, with Chelsea still at the top of the table with 29 points. At the post-match press conference, when Liu Yi appeared with Luo, Tuchel had already left with his players, and presumably there was nothing to say under this rout. As soon as the two men took their seats, reporters poured in. "Liu, congratulations on winning this focus battle. If you have anything to say, give me a share of it." Liu Yi waved his hand, signaling everyone to be a little quieter, and then smiled and opened his mouth. Chelsea are great clubs and now at the top of the Premier League table. Being able to beat them helps us to get closer to the top of the table and then pursue our goals. So, can you tell us what you and Manchester United are aiming for? Of course, all the champions. As long as we have a chance, we will not give up. Liu Yi gave the answer in no uncertain terms. If he had just taken office, he would most likely have been ridiculed by the crowd, and this word was spread as a joke. But now, Liu Yi said he was going to win all the titles, and the reporters present were first silent and then gave a warm applause. After the interview with Liu Yi, the best player of the game, Luo also accepted an interview. Congratulations on getting the best of the game. Thank you. Can you share how you feel now? It's not easy to beat Chelsea. Everyone look at their previous games to know how strong they are. Today we are under Liu's command, hard work, finally did it, thanks to our coach, he is our backbone, but also the direction we are heading. Luo faced the camera and touted Liu Yi. Let Liu Yi feel some shame in his heart on the one hand, and almost increase the strength in his heart, who doesn't like to listen to good things. Today you appeared in the long-lost left-winger position and showed a great state of emergency. Was Liu deliberately arranged that? Yes, even I don't believe in myself, and I have such a strong ability, breaking through with the ball and passing these things. I have done very little over the years, but before today's game, Liu, and I said that he understands my ability, believes that I can do it, I can't be disappointed in him. And then you can see the result. I did everything in the game and it seemed to work pretty well. The reporters were almost numb. All this was the credit of Liu Yi, the Demon King from the Dragon Kingdom. How many secrets he still had, how much energy he could burst out. In the game, Reece James hurt you. How are you injured? Reece is a good player, it's just that he's still young and can't control his emotions, so he made mistakes, and I often made mistakes when I was younger, so I hope he can cheer up and not be affected. My injury is a skin trauma, about 602 or 3 days will be completely better. See, Luo talked about this problem in the face of this problem, showing his pattern and heart, and also showing a demeanor in the face of the latecomers. People moved. Another reporter did not open which pot to mention which pot, asked the Golden Globe Award and Messi questions. Cristiano, the Golden Globes have a high probability of Messi winning this year. You seem to have no way to catch up with him. Do you have anything you want to say? Originally, many reporters thought that C. Luo would directly throw his face and leave. Ronaldo's face has indeed changed, but it is not anger, but a sense of both sense and hope. First of all, congratulations to Messi, once again participating in the final battle of the Golden Globes. If he can get, then I congratulate him. He is an admirable opponent and wish him all the best in the future. If I hadn't met Liu, then I have to admit that my Golden Globe journey may be over, but now Liu knows how to let me burst out of the greatest energy, so I will continue to work hard, until the day I retire and leave the stadium. I will definitely not give up the fight. Thank you. In the end, Glory South is dedicated to Liu Yi. We are just his followers. Episode 94. The real storm has only just begun at the end of the game. After all, the super strong teams of the Premier League, Manchester City and Chelsea, have been wiped out, and they are really slaughtered by a big score. The Times made a direct front page headline, issuing a call for the Premier League. Hashtag who can stop the devil Liu? Hashtag. Not to be outdone, the London Financial Journal also published its own views. Hashtag although Liu Yi's Manchester United, there are still 3 points left to the top of the table, but this year's championship may have been doomed. Hashtag. Liverpool echo. Hashtag only Liverpool can stop Manchester United. Klopp personally beat Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, then now he will once again save the Premier League and block Manchester United. Hashtag. When I saw this report, let alone Liverpool fans, even Klopp himself had a headache. He's been following Manchester United games lately, and as long as it's not the same time, he'll watch it, not just himself, but even the main players in the team, Van Dijk. The more I looked, the more shocked I became, and all Klopp could think of so far was to use Salah and Van Dijk's superb abilities to limit opponents' goals on the one hand and attack their opponents' weak defensive areas on the other. As for using tactics, Klopp doesn't think his players can do the same thing that United does with helpers. All the time in the Transfiguration, the current Liverpool, if you play like this, it is estimated that you will not find anyone in 10 minutes. Fortunately, the individual ability of his players can be better than most of Manchester United's players. Just like Van Dijk in the back line, the super centre-back at his peak, a strong man who can bring qualitative change to a team, it should not be easy to score goals against him. And Salah, super explosive and impactful. When the time comes to use against Maguire, the opponent will certainly not be able to resist. Coupled with his crazy running and flowing kicking, he should still be able to compete with the other party. Klopp could clearly feel that he didn't really have much confidence in these things. The internet is even more noisy, and media and commentators large and small have called on the Premier League teams to unite and do their best to stop Liu Yi and his Manchester United. Of course, this is a good thing for Manchester United supporters, who are afraid that they are not strong enough and have never been afraid of the enemy. The stronger the opponent, the more excited it is, and the happier it is to win. Gary Neville, I can't wait for the next leg between Manchester United and Liverpool, and hopefully Liu will give me a face and let me have a drink. Beckham, who has rarely said this on social media, also unexpectedly stood up and showed his attitude. Liu has proved that he is the right choice for Manchester United, and he will lead the team to one victory after another like a lord and regain domination of the Premier League. Manchester United superfan, the world's #1 flying man Bolt. I'm going to go to the home stadium to watch Liu command the game, hoping to get his autograph. Super boxer, Floyd Mayweather, even tweeted a video. As a die-hard fan of Manchester United, he was full of praise for Liu. When Liu stood on the sidelines, it was like I was standing in the boxing ring, and I was invincible. Another superboxing champion, Asia's pride, known as the Asian destroyer Manny Pagir, is also a Manchester United fan and also gave a testimonial on social media. Liu is the pride of Asia, and I look forward to him bringing countless titles and honors to Manchester United. In addition, there are Hollywood super hot girls who have starred in Transformers. Megan Fox, who is a blockbuster such as Jedi X-Men, also tweeted his love for Liu Yi. I have to admit that this is a fascinating man. When he stood on the sidelines, I had fallen straight to the ground, and Manchester United finally welcomed his demon king, My Majesty. The Hollywood goddess of the last century, Julia Roberts, who has been 55 years old, has starred in famous film and television works such as Pretty Lady of the Wind and Moon, Friends, American Sweetheart, and she is also a Manchester United fan. If I were 30 years younger, I wouldn't hesitate to pursue this man. He's so charming, and I hope all the United fans can support him. In a group of crazy praise for Liu Yi, or in the media that publishes the thread of Manchester United, there is a unique newspaper, which is naturally the Sun newspaper that will never disappoint. The Sun, after our interview, the famous reality show Toei female artist, Billy Fels claimed that if Manchester United can win the championship, then she is willing to take a special set of photos, as a welfare of Manchester United fans. Here we Sun all-male colleagues, for the mouth of Manchester United oil. It is worthy of you. You can always come up with a little trick, make people feel bright, and other media channels are different. Foreign countries have been so crazy, domestic as the base camp of Liu Yi's fans, naturally also crazy celebration. Only Chelsea, Liverpool and Manchester City, Arsenal fans of these teams, feel a little helpless. Manchester United official blog first published a Weibo, that is, Liu Yi raised his hands high, behind him was a clapping player, in front of which were countless photos of fans. The copywriting is also simple. Red Devils Manchester United have finally ushered in his demon king. Liu Han directly forwarded this Weibo, and then lost a paragraph. Brother Yi is a coach who really has Manchester United's DNA. He is always domineering, full of desire for victory and honor, my king. Because the filming retreat has been closed for a long time, Yang Tianbao, who has not had a private chat with Liu Yi, also forwarded Weibo, with a photoshoot of himself wearing a Manchester United shirt. Domineering on the field, gentleman off the field, god of Manchester United. Even Liverpool fan Jean June also forwarded this Manchester United official blog, and then wrote a paragraph. Congratulations to Manchester United on finally coming to the right path this time. Manchester United's return will rewrite the pattern of the Premier League, and see how other heroes in the Premier League deal with it. Demimi naturally will not miss this kind of thing, but she did not forward Manchester United's official blog, but sent a blog herself, accompanied by a photo of Liu's back. Only a real man can run such a domineering club as Manchester United. Congratulations to Manchester United on finding a new devil, the Premier League after so many years of division, and it is time to return to the Manchester United era. And our coach Liu, on the other hand, seems to have forgotten that he still has a Weibo account, and after returning to the hotel from Stamford Bridge, he directly gave the players a holiday. I hope to see you on time in Carrington the morning after tomorrow. No problem, boss. Everyone stood tall in unison, looking like a member of the criminal and evil forces. Contact the Penguin sports reporter Kevin. The last time was he took himself around Manchester, now see if he knows about Len hunting. Episode 95. This kind of opportunity to contact Liu Yi, Kevin naturally will not miss. As long as he casually reveals a little information to himself, his own reporter will be good. Besides, London is really familiar to him, at least much more familiar than Liu Yi. All kinds of well-known attractions. He doesn't know how many times he has taken people to. The two meet at the Hilton Hotel where Manchester United are staying. Kevin, Brother E, the internet is all over for you, and you're still in the mood to go shopping. Liu Yi naturally knew that after each game, he would have to be noisy for a few days until the next game began, so he did not go to the internet to read the news. Just replied to a few messages from friends, refused Luo's invitation to dinner, boiled chicken breast, increased rice, this thing who can stand What's the hurry, the news on the internet can't run, let's go to London for a walk and then say. Worthy of being a top coach, this mentality is good. Kevin gave a thumbs up and a heartfelt admiration. Wearing a pair of sunglasses and a little disguise to prevent being killed by angry Chelsea fans, Liu Yi still has this point. Packed up, the two went straight to the Shard, the top floor to see the night view of London. I have to say that when Liu Yi was in China, he had never had such an opportunity, and now he suddenly saw this kind of neon flashing, as if it was a beautiful night view standing in the clouds, and it was really shocking. After taking a few photos, it is also a success of punching the clock. After inviting Kevin to dinner, and after a drink by the way, the two took a taxi back to their quarters to sleep. When they were separated, Kevin also told Liu Yi that London also has those irregular places, and if Liu Yi wants to go, he can lead the way. Coach Liu resolutely refused. He had maintained his virgin body for 30 years, how could he be destroyed by the hands of the technician? After returning to the hotel, Liu Yi sent a circle of friends and sent out a photo of himself clocking in. After the game, I went to see the night view of London, and it was still very good. In less than a minute, there are dozens of likes and replies below, and they are constantly increasing. Think about it, as already more than 6 o'clock in the morning, most people have just woken up, or are still sleeping. Of course, there are people who may not sleep at all. Dad, it's a big night over there, don't run blindly in the future, it's not safe. Mom, it's not cold in Britain, go out at night and wear more. Quickly called back, chatted with the mother, by the way, concerned about the father, how is the fishing recently, is it off in the Air Force? Don't say it, your dad was fishing before, afraid that I would laugh at his failure to catch it, so when he came back, he took a detour to the fish market to buy live fish and came back, saying that he caught it. When he said this, Liu Yi even heard his mother's undisguised laughter, so that his speech was intermittent. Of course, there is also the protest voice of the father, I am not, don't be blind, you don't destroy my image in front of your son. After hanging up the phone, Liu Yi was also in a much better mood, and from his mother's laughter and his father's family seat, it could be seen that they had been very happy recently. What else is more important than a good life and a happy life for your family? After the incident, I finally thought that I had more than 10 million fans on the game, and now that I have won a big victory over Chelsea, I have to let fans share my glory. Log into Weibo, Alok was shocked, the number of fans has exceeded 20 million, but he did not spend $1. And I don't know who helped him open a membership, isn't this nonsense? Liu Yi's most annoying thing is to inexplicably send money to capitalists. The private message could not be read at all, and it had been read directly. Comments on what casually turned over a few pieces, there is no nutritional things, basically praise his awesome. However, one of them attracted Liu Yi's attention, and it was also liked by hundreds of thousands of fans, which was very conspicuous in the comment area. The speeding fathead fish, brother E, this guy said that your employment is unreasonable, the tactics are not in line with the situation of Manchester United, and it will soon usher in failure. There is also a name in the back, which is the head iron commentator of Donglu, and if Liu Yi looks at him more, he will lose. The photos taken by the hand, as well as the photos of the stadium that Kevin shared with himself, were sent up in a 9-square grid. A day trip to London. Just sent it, someone commented below, Liu guidance is great. Between jokes and talks, the strong enemy is in vain, maybe this is the realm of Liu Guide. Everyone thinks Liu Yi is celebrating in a carnival, but I didn't expect that he had put down the game with Chelsea and returned to normal life. A burst of rainbow farts, blowing Liu Yi almost couldn't sleep. The next day, Liu Yi was going to play another day to see what iconic attractions such as the London Eye and the Tower of London were, but unfortunately a call from Manchester changed his itinerary. Another company from the Dragon Kingdom, unable to contact him directly, had to go directly to the club. Arnold, what kind of business is it? It should be a clothing company. Arnold is not very clear, after all, this is Liu Yi's private affair, he is not good to ask too much. After hanging up the phone, Liu Yi had a few more names in his mind, Li Ning? Anta? Anyway, the second endorsement contract of the system reward finally appeared. If it does not appear again, Liu Yi will feel that there is a problem with the system, or it is really impossible to select any suitable company. London or something, a few times a year, punch in the attractions to save the next time, first go to the money to earn and then say. Of course, it doesn't matter what you make money, the important thing is to help domestic enterprises do publicity. Liu Yi directly returned to the house, took the most recent flight, returned to Manchester, guests from afar are already waiting for him. Episode 96. Returning to Manchester in a hurry, at the Kempinski Hotel in Manchester, I met guests from the country. The leader is a middle-aged woman who looks to be about 40 years old, but now the people are very well nurtured, and the specific age is difficult to say. The moment he saw Liu Yi, the 5 people in the room stood up in unison and greeted him with a smile on their faces. Good guidance, Liu. I am the executive director of Boziting, the executive president, Mei Dong. Liu Yi never expected that the domestic company was actually Boziting, and after hearing the other party's level, he suddenly felt that the other party still attached great importance to himself. Lucky to be lucky. The next 5 are Boziting's senior management, chief brand strategy president, chief financial officer, company secretary, vice president, and assistant to the executive president. Everyone introduced each other, all of them were Longwa people talking, and Liu Yi felt very kind. Liu guidance, we came this time, mainly to seek cooperation. Originally our head of the board of directors, Mr. Gao Kong, was ready to come personally, but recently infected with a cold, can only be done by me, but also hope that Liu guidance will not be hurried. What Liu Yi did not know was that the female CEO was the number 2 person in Boziting and Gao Kang's wife, and leading the team to come was enough to give him face. Boziting is a world-renowned down jacket brand, and it is my honor to cooperate. The flower palanquin people lift people, the other party is so face-giving. Liu Yi is naturally not an unkind person. The two sides are intentional, flowing water has feelings. The next thing is easy to do. Bozeting wants to hire Liu Yi as Bozeting Global, the chief brand spokesperson and image ambassador of the whole series, and is willing to pay a huge endorsement fee for this. Liu Yi naturally agreed to come down. The specific amount and details need Mendes and the other party to negotiate. He is just here to decide whether to talk about this contract. You and I wish. The work is naturally going very smoothly. Just one afternoon, the two sides agreed to complete the contract. In the evening, Liu Yi invited everyone to dinner, in addition to him and Bozeting, accompanied by Mendes and Manchester United CEO Sandesi. By the way, the Ronaldo at home was pulled out as an escort. For someone else, Liu would definitely refuse directly, but now Liu Yi called him, just like he said, willing to do anything for Liu Yi, without hesitation to come to the banquet. Director Liu, the temperature in England is also a little low. If possible, we hope that you will wear a down jacket from Bozeting in the next game. Of course, we provide it for free. Any series will prepare 2 sets for you, not enough at any time. No problem, I am still wearing it domestically, and I can save this money in the future. Since you have earned people's money, you naturally have to work, not to mention that in Liu Yi's view, Bozeting's down jacket, the design is still very good looking, and the price is relatively close to the people. Bozeting's senior management, when he came, thought that Liu Yi, a person with unlimited charm on the court, must also be a flamboyant young man, did not expect to be so gentle. There is a gentleman's charm on the body, let people easily trust him, want to mouth him close. The next morning, Liu Yi arranged the player training. He left the training base to deal with private affairs. The main thing is to wear Bozeting's down jacket and take a series of photos for Bozeting to use as publicity, which is his obligation. In the afternoon, the two sides held a press conference, at which Bozeting CEO Mei Dong and Liu Yi shook hands together and announced that Liu Yi became Bozeting's global exclusive spokesperson and global brand ambassador, with a 5-year contract. There is no specific amount, but according to the private speculation of industry insiders, the total amount should not be less than $50 million. Then what to do is that after Liu Yi returned to China during the winter break, he filmed a series of propaganda films, and the domestic spokesperson also wanted to cooperate with him. No problem, now Liu Yi has fully adapted to face the camera, but I don't know who Bozeting's domestic spokesperson is? The news came back to China, and it was now more than 9 o'clock in the evening in China, but it was just the time when everyone had eaten, bragged together, and went online. Demimi, who was playing the game, quickly ended the game and sent a message to Liu Yi. Liu Yi, congratulations on winning Bozeting's global endorsement. Liu Yi has just received a large amount of money, although it is only 1/3 of the endorsement fee, but it is already amazing enough for $20 million. The outside world speculates that more than $50 million is really the valuation of insiders in the industry. While watching the players training, he took out his mobile phone and saw the news of Dapami. Yo, Sister Bai is well informed enough. I just returned to the training base after the press conference. You got the news. What are your thoughts? When the press conference over there opened, the Bozeting official Bo here announced the news. That is, you are a spokesperson, do not interact with the financial lord. Dobby will roll his eyes wordlessly as he speaks. Aren't I inexperienced? And Longqi Auto didn't have this kind of requirement before, so I'll log in and interact with it. Liu Yi patted his head, he really lacked something in this regard. Do you know other spokespeople for Bozeting? I don't know, I didn't pay attention to this before. Liu Yi was a little surprised. What did Demimi say about this? Elm nodded head. Big must be angry in the quilt, a few feet of quilt. You must be sister to me, that is, the spokesperson of Bozeting's designer series, and you are several levels behind. When Demibai said, his psychology was also a little sour, and he had worked hard for so many years, and he was not as good as a little guy who led the team to play a few games. This is Liu Yi's surprise. Hurry up, and Dobby must say, during the winter break to return to China for a trip, with Bozeting to shoot a promotional film. When the time comes, we can cooperate. When speaking, Liu Yi also logged into his own blog, forwarded the content of Bozeting's official blog, and wrote some endorsement testimonials by the way. It is a great honor to be the global spokesperson of Bozeting. Thank you for your trust in me. I will continue to lead the team to win the highest honor in the football world. Bozeting is also marching all the way, becoming the first choice of people around the world. Seeing this news, even Dababi's mentality is slightly unbalanced, and it is needless to say that others are staring at this endorsement. Another large piece of fat was eaten by Liu Yi, a newcomer in football, which is really unwilling. Before the dragon flag card does not say, the average person is not worthy, but Bozeting's endorsement contract, this is the entertainment industry's first-line traffic, salivating fat off for a time, it is inevitable that some people will say something een and young weird. Privately there are people who curse Bozeting to quickly go out of business. Unfortunately, neither Liu Yi nor Bozeting would care about them. As long as Liu leads Manchester United to march forward and conquer the hearts of countless Manchester United fans around the world, the clamor of a few insects in China is not worth mentioning. Good things came in pairs. Liu had just signed Boateng's endorsement contract, and Mendes brought him another gift. Episode 97. Mendes is happy. Liu has won 2 endorsement contracts on his own, and they are super big. His agent is only responsible for the specific content negotiations, making him feel disgraced, and now the opportunity has finally come. Liu, I bring you good news that can greatly enhance your influence in the world. While speaking, he used his arms and his hands, and gave Liu a big hug. Good news, everyone likes to hear good news, and Liu is no exception. Let's hear it. Nike is willing to send you an endorsement contract of 5 years and $50 million, which is not only a matter of money, but also your value is reflected, and you are honored for your value. In terms of money, it is indeed a super contract. Football and the NBA, there are not many people who can get this price, and they are all superstars. But when he heard this name, Liu frowned, and he felt some feelings of wanting to throw up, and the 2 words were disgusting. For Nike, because of the Longwa cotton storm at the beginning of the year, his sales in the second quarter were directly cut off, and although the third quarter said that all kinds of self-media that do not force the face, as well as Nike's official statement, were increased by 17%, exceeding expectations. But that was the growth on the basis of the waist cut. The president of Nike Greater China resigned, the management was changed, and the senior president of the company's headquarters in charge of the Asian business was directly taken down. The new president, in order to reverse the situation, tried countless ways. The public relations department and the marketing department, the hair fell off piece by piece. The effect is indeed there. However, with the increase in the market share of Longwa brand, ANTA, and Li Ning, the domestic people have further awakened, making her feel that the pressure is constantly increasing. Spokespeople or something, the influential stars within the Dragon Kingdom, do not dare to touch it all. Suddenly a Liu appeared. It seems that he has become the card of the sports industry of Longwa for a while, and in just 1 month, his influence has surpassed that of other sports stars. The key is that his image is good, the temperament on the field is good. If you can win Liu, then it will definitely be of great help to Nike to occupy the Chinese market. Just like his Weibo fans, without sending a few Weibo, without a fake account, it is hard to break through the number of 20 million fans in a short period of time. This is all sports fans. Nike, as a sports brand, needs this. So after a brief internal discussion, they decisively contacted Mendes and sent such a generous contract, and in their opinion, no one would refuse. That's $50 million, and if you convert it to RMB, it's worth 300 million. They believe in one sentence: it is either a matter of money or not enough money. Looking at Liu Yi's somewhat dignified expression, Mendes felt that the situation was different from what he thought. Was there something inside that he didn't understand? Liu, I don't think you're very happy? Jorge, I am naturally glad that you can help me bring an endorsement contract, but I am not going to accept Nike's endorsement contract. Liu didn't think much about it. He didn't lack money now. He didn't know how to spend it because he had a lot of money, and there was no need to buckle the pot on his head. The smile on Mendes's face had not yet appeared, and it turned into shock. Is Liu unhappy with Nike's $50 million because of his previous $60 million contract? Is it a matter of price? No, it's not a matter of price. Nike has done things that insult my country before, so I definitely won't cooperate with them. Liu simply told the story. Mendes could understand this sentiment, but could not understand it as such a thing, and refused a contract of $50 million. Liu, this is $50 million. If the price is not appropriate, we can continue to talk. Liu raised his head and glanced at Mendes. Jorge, we Longwa people have a saying: Sanxiao is practical and knows etiquette, and has enough food and clothing to know honor and disgrace, which probably means that a person will have his own adherence to the first virtue without lack of money. Hearing this, Mendes knew that he had absolutely no possibility of convincing Liu. Instead, he shook his head and sighed deeply. Liu, I admire you as a person. Such a contract and interests, few people in the world can say no, at least it is so crisp, absolutely few. Well, you can turn down Nike and say I don't plan to work with them. Liu did not plan to give Mendes a lesson in ideology and morality, and easily made a final decision. As an agent, Mendes naturally could only listen to him, and with a bitter smile, he held out his hand and shook hands with Liu. Liu, I came with excitement, but you let me leave with a sense of feeling. I hope you can invite me to a meal to make up for my wounded heart. That's nature. Wait until I decide to hire a Chinese chef, and then invite everyone to come to the house for dinner. Chinese food, I hope to eat Chinese food from the Dragon Kingdom, not what we advertise Chinese food. After I go to the Dragon Country, I can't eat Chinese food outside the Dragon Country. Mendes is very happy, mainly to maintain the relationship with Liu Yi, even if he rejects Nike, but there are more endorsements, more money to earn. Leaving Liu Yi's house, Mendes called Nike's people directly. "I'm sorry, Schneider, I have bad news here to tell you. Liu refused to cooperate with you." "Why?" There was an incredibly questioning voice from the other side. Episode 98. Mendes's statement obviously could not satisfy Nike, and they decided to personally go out and send elite soldiers to meet with Liu Yi in the future. The first game in December was with the third brother Arsenal. As soon as he came up, he was in the same room, the battle of brothers. Liu Yi was a bit unbearable, but the arena must pursue victory, and it is good to talk about what is off the field. There is no targeted training, now it is mainly other teams. Training for Manchester United often has no effect. The day before the competition, after the morning training, Lingard took the initiative to find Liu Yi. "Boss, I want to stay." Hearing this, there is no doubt that it proves Lin Jiaoda's loyalty to Liu Yi, which makes Lu Xiong feel very high. "Jesse, this will be an important choice in your life and I will notify the club to negotiate a contract with you." "Thank you." Jesse Lingard knows that if Liu Yi says such a word, then he will have a little more interest in this contract extension negotiation, which is very important for a player who is at the peak of his career. "It's okay, you're my man, and I'm going to take care of you." Jesse Lingard's heart felt warm, and he had never felt this feeling in the coach, or in other men. His parents divorced and he grew up with his mother, so much so that at this time, he wanted to call the coach in front of him, father. If Liu Yi knew, he would definitely be shocked. He was only a few years older than Lingard, but he couldn't have such a thought. Leave with a sneaky and touched mood, and there is Lingard's best friend outside, Rashford, waiting for him. "Jesse, the boss didn't say anything bad." "Marcus, the boss is the best man in the world, and I will never betray him." Looking at Lingard's expression, Rashford knew that this must be a pleasant meeting, and he was relieved. Inside the office, Liu Yi dialed Ed Woodward's number, and the voice of Santa Cuco sneaking across from him came the sound of Sandezi's sneaky voice, whose reputation among fans and United supporters had recently improved dramatically. "No one wants to be scolded every day. Dear Liu, is there any good news? Of course, Lingard is going to renew his contract, so you find a time to make an appointment." "No problem, happy to serve you." The two of them quickly ripped each other and hung up the phone. The two big men had something to say. In the afternoon, Lingard announced in the locker room that he was going to stay, and for a while the locker room cheered, basically old acquaintances, or Lingard's friends. "Congratulations Jesse, you made the right choice." Ronaldo stood up first and found out, patting Lingard on the shoulder. "Jesse, I'm glad we can continue to play together. I was worried that if I met you in the league, I would tackle the ball with this foot, and you would be able to stand it." Wan-Bissaka also made an unexpected joke. Other Faye and others also congratulated Lingard, and then everyone took a group photo together and posted it to their respective social media. It's a pity the boss is not there, otherwise it would be perfect. It doesn't matter, there are opportunities. On social media, Lingard posted a photo and a sentence, "We are a family." Media reporters quickly read that Jesse Lingard and Manchester United's contract renewal negotiations, with a new turnaround, should be developing in a good direction. Other players also spoke up, of course, did not directly say that Jesse Lingard stayed, but only showed some attitude from the side. After all, the contract was not negotiated. In the locker room, Pogba, who was injured but still often came to see and maintained his own presence, watched the scene in front of him fall into contemplation. Before, when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was there, he really didn't want to stay, but now everything has changed. The coach, the record, the tactics, and even the locker room atmosphere has become very good. Now he wants to stay, but how should he open this mouth? Previously, he had said something bad for his agent Loyola to maintain a good relationship with the club, and the fans did not like him. If he stays, will the boss still be willing to accept Ba? Paul, is there any confusion? Verratti, also a Frenchman, sat next to Pogba, and he could probably guess what Pogba was thinking. After hesitating, Pogba spoke to Verratti about his thoughts, as well as some concerns. Liu Yi, the boss of everyone's heart, Coach Liu was very depressed, came out at noon to walk around, went home to get something, and was blocked at the door of the house. There were 5 people in all, 3 white men, plus 2 Asian women, who looked like Dragon Nation, or Dragon Ben from abroad. "I am Dong Yun, president of Nike Greater China, and this is Lin Xiao, the right-hand man of our public relations department." The middle-aged woman at the head introduced herself, and then introduced the younger one around, looking 27 or 8-year-old beautiful women. Her figure and appearance are first class. "Hello, it's a pleasure to see you." When Lin Xiao spoke, he also winked at Liu Yi and teased the single dog. 3 white men, all at Nike's Asia and headquarters, are hung at the top of a global vice president. Stop, I'm not interested in getting to know you. I'm not interested in working with you. If nothing else, I'm going to work. The Kleiser family is very picky, will deduct my water. Liu Yi raised his wrist to look at the non-existent watch while walking away to the side. Mr. Liu, if you feel that the price is not satisfactory, we can talk about it again. There's nothing to talk about unless you give me 51% of the shares. Liu Yi opened his mouth and refused the other party, which made Dong Yun feel very helpless. What kind of person is this? Lin Xiao on the side suddenly smiled and walked over. She believed that no one would reject a smiling beauty, especially if she was like her, who had absolute confidence in herself. Mr. Liu is worried about the domestic fishing boats. We have sufficient experience in this area. There have been several storms, but every time we are safe and sound, the market has not further growth. Liu Yi's face darkened, and he looked at her with some bad looks. Our domestic netizens are goldfish. They will still come to buy our products, but also will take the initiative to defend us. Once they can't buy it, they will blame the previous cotton incident. There is no need to worry at all, and when the time comes, everyone will forget these things that are not fast. Taking a deep breath, Liu Yi waved his hand to interrupt the other party and continue to speak. There are bones everywhere. Aren't you complacent about being a member of Nike? But I'm here to tell you that it has nothing to do with me whether other people remember or not. I can remember. After speaking, Liu Yi directly pushed the other party away and walked towards the car, looking at him. After taking a few steps, he looked back at the ugly face of the other party and said seriously, and I know that the one who can remember your ugly face is definitely not me, Liu. Episode 99. Nike up and down. Never expected that Liu Yi, as a person in the society, who has been playing well for several years and has been hammered by reality many times, actually faced their US dollars and showed such an attitude. This made them feel a little frightened, even uneasy. This matter is completely out of their imagination and control, and there are people who do not love money and do not seem to have any feelings about beauty. Liu Yi drove the dragon flag car with a cold face and returned to his Carrington office, and the more he thought about it, the more depressed he became. It is so obscure to be approached by such a group of people. Simply log into your own blog, put the Nike contract left by Mendez before, shoot a cover, and then have a written message. I rejected a $50 million endorsement contract, and there was a group of people who thought that everyone would kneel down and ask for food, but I just had hard knees and couldn't kneel. Fans exploded in an instant. After all, this is $50 million US dollars. No one will suspect that Liu Yi is lying, his current identity and status. There is no need to do this. Liu Guide. Domineering. Nike's contract is not wanted. Nike wants to use the influence of the Demon King to expand the market of our Dragon Kingdom, and the result is the face of the king. I have to admit that in addition to Liu Zixin, it is difficult to imagine who would refuse such a contract. Liu Zixi is really a talent of virtue and art. Liu Yi just casually sent a message. The following fan comments in just half an hour. It exceeded 100,000. As for the number of likes, it directly rose to more than 800,000. From the comments of fans, it can be seen that not everyone will forget what Nike has done, and one more can make it earn one less. There are also discordant comments. For example, some people scolded Liu Yi for being stupid. Cotton and you have a fart relationship, tens of millions of dollars, you don't want to take it after you can give it to me. Such comments were soon drowned in the saliva of people's netizens. The various state media that immediately reacted also began to take action, forwarding Liu Yi's encirclement and expressing support for him. Mass Daily, Flower Society, Green Dragon Youth League Committee, and so on. Just like Dababy, before the termination of cooperation with Nike, originally still in pain to take some money, now see Liu Yi directly refused the contract of $50 million US dollars, suddenly feel that the pattern of people and people, the gap is too big. Skillfully forward the thumbs up, and then close the thumb. Liu guidance is awesome. Not to be outdone, Yang Tianbao forwarded Weibo and commented, Brother Yi is domineering. It is conceivable that this time Nike absolutely stole chicken and did not become a rotten rice, and originally wanted to use Liu Yi's influence to expand its market share in Longhua. Now that Liu Yi is making such a fuss, it is estimated that there will be a significant decline in recent sales. A distinctive feature of football fans is loyalty, the pursuit of a lifetime of support for a team. If you change the door, you will be blinded by other postal teams. Liu Yi, the Devil King, came out like this. At least the loyal Manchester United fans, I am afraid that they will not buy Nike things recently. In the Manchester hotel, several senior Nike executives smashed several teacups on the spot after receiving news from Dragon Country, but they could not do anything. Manchester United are a team belonging to the Audi family and are probably laughing at them now. Holding a press conference overnight, we want to issue a statement to the outside world on this matter. The following people hurried to handle it, mainly to contact several media, as well as the person in charge of the social platform who notified their home, and they denounced E. Only half an hour before and after, Dong Yun, the president of Nike Greater China, angered Liu Yi through a press conference. A barbarian without grace, not at all a gentleman, without a hint of aristocracy, we at Nike will never have any cooperation with him. Then Nike's social accounts and other media have also released this news. The only impact on Liu Yi is that it confirms the authenticity of his blog from the side, making many people who question Liu Yi shut up. As for not cooperating in the future, Liu Yi didn't care at all. He never thought of cooperating with a brand that insulted his motherland. He earned millions of pounds a year at Manchester United, plus a mess of bonuses, close to £10 million of income, and did not know where to spend it. Sitting comfortably in the office, Yang Tianbao sent a message, "Brother E, Nike said that he will not cooperate with you in the future." Liu Yi replied to her directly, "Obscure, these two words are best not to appear in front of me." Seeing Liu Yi's reply, Yang Tianbao blinked, as if this was a very hot response. "Brother E, can I send the chat between the two of us to the Weishang FA? Although it is hairy, it is not unseemly." So a few minutes later, Yang Tianbao sent her and Liu Yi a private chat, and Liu Yi's disdain and disregard for Nike were vividly displayed. Dobby Bai saw the screenshot of Yang Tianbao's chat with Liu Yi, and he was immediately a little jealous, and quickly sent a message to Liu Yi. "Xiao Yi, my sister will always support you." "Small? Sister Bai, I'm afraid you don't know what is big." Liu Yi's face was rippling, and when he was ready to talk about the commotion in his head, the office door slammed into the door. "Quickly clean up the image and sort out the expression." With his consent, it was Pogba who came in, standing in front of him with a look of affection. "Boss, I want to know our team and where I am." Hearing his words, Liu Yi's expression immediately became serious, and he stood up from behind the desk and looked directly at Pogba. "Paul, you are a genius. As long as you play seriously, think that there is no Beijing team will reject you small." Pogba was visibly relieved, and it seemed that the coach recognized him as well, so everything would be fine. But with Liu Yi but exiting, Pogba became nervous again. Everyone knew that what was in front was just laying the groundwork, and what was behind was the key. "I'm a little different here. I want my players to have feelings for Manchester United and are willing to play for Manchester United and write their names privately in the history of Manchester United." Pogba listened to Liu Yi's voice, and the words that Barony had given him before came back to his mind. "Boss is a very calm, very warm person. As long as you communicate with him honestly, explain your troubles and emotions, I think he will give you a satisfactory recovery." Thinking of this, Pogba looked up and found that the coach was also looking at him, with some anticipation in his eyes. "Coach, I know I've done something that makes the United fans and the people involved unhappy. It's my mistake and I'm not going to give myself a reason." "Very good," Liu Yi nodded. "As a man of nearly 30 years old, this bit of responsibility still has to be had. Now I am willing to stay for you and Manchester United. The atmosphere in the dressing room is completely different from before, you are completely different from the coaches before you, and charging under your command is the main reason why I stayed." Very frank, but also very clear. After saying that, Pogba completely relaxed. Even if the coach still won't forgive himself, then he won't blame anyone, it's all the previous cause and effect. Liu Yi fell into contemplation with a serious face. How should he respond? Episode 100. "Paul, I have to be honest with you here. If you want to continue playing at Manchester United and win honors and trophies, I'm afraid you have to make some choices." Liu Yi is not a procrastinating, unresponsible person. Since Pogba offered to stay, then he can naturally put forward conditions. Pogba opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but was stopped by Liu Yi waving. "First of all, you have to change the agent. Manchester United will never work with Loyola on my hands. From now on, if that player choose to work with Loyola, then it means that he will never be the object of Manchester United's pursuit, no matter what magic, genius, even Cristiano and Messi are the same. Secondly, you have to be clear about your status. Even if you renew your salary, you can't exceed Cristiano. If you want, you can go to the club and talk. Finally, you have to publicly apologize to the Manchester United fans for the inappropriate remarks of the past and then declare your emotional scruples for Manchester United. You can go back and think about it and make a decision. Your contract will not expire until next year, and in the meantime you can come to me and say anything." Liu Yi will think of what he can think of and make a few demands on Pogba. Pogba fell into contemplation. He did not give an answer on the spot, but left Liu Yi's office with silence. Simple 3, involving many questions, but also the question of where he will go in the future. The first one, giving up working with Loyola, is a very difficult option for the club. Loyola is a very ridiculous thing, but for the players, Loyola is really hard to fight for the interests of the players, but it is also constantly expanding his personal interests. The result is a conflict between players and clubs, and even a split among fans. Pogba's thing, Liu Yi did not think too much. After he left, quickly packed up his mood and began to do his own thing. The club is so big, and he has a cheat in his hands. Pogba can't say it's dispensable, at least it's not that important. For Pogba, if he leaves Manchester United freely, there is no shortage of next home. The worst result was a slap in the face. The loss is that Manchester United invested a lot in him, and finally there was no gain. Of course, this has nothing to do with Liu Yi, it is all a matter of the past. Just after packing up, the phone rang and it was Arnold who would take over as United's CEO after Santiago retired. Arnold, is there anything wrong with me? Of course, nothing can disturb you, precious working time. Arnold responded with a smile. This goes on to say that serious things are for the transfer of reinforcements. In another month, the winter transfer window will open, and if we need to strengthen the squad, I will start preparing in advance. Alexander-Arnold said it very politely, and now Liu is a god in the heart of Manchester United. And he led the team to one big win after another, so that Manchester United's stock price rose to $32, so it is also the god in the heart of the Glazer family. Don't say it's him, even Santiago doesn't dare to rebel against this new coach. This problem Liu Yi really thought about, mainly right guard Wan-Bissaka, need a qualified rotation, to add some pressure and rest time to him. So far, from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to Liu Yi, he has almost always been on the field, and the Iron Man can't stand it. After thinking about it, two names appeared in his mind. Simply say them to Arnold, let them operate well. Liu Yi did not want to eat kickbacks, or what ghosts were in it, and did not want to bother to intervene. Arnold, I have two options here. One is Tarek Rantep from Brighton and the other is Valentino Livramento from Southampton. I hope you can get one of them. The sound of keystrokes rang on the other side of the phone, and soon Arnold's voice rang out, man, these two are from Chelsea's academy, and I don't know if it will make it more difficult. Ha ha ha, they left Chelsea just to prove themselves, then we Manchester United are also big clubs, bigger platforms than Chelsea, for you this is just a small test. Liu Yi smiled and said a good word about Arnold, which made this mood secretly happy. Rest assured, you'll see them in our squad in the second half of the season. Arnold gave an affirmative answer, reassuring Liu Yi. One more thing, Mourinho wants Dalot over there, what do you think? If the players are willing to leave, I have no objection. It's so quick to work with you, my brother. Arnold hung up the phone in a hurry. Looking at his phone, Dalot really didn't have much of a chance in his hands, and even he had a hard time figuring out why Dalot was in United's squad. Opening the notebook, after the match with Chelsea, Liu Yi has not yet logged into the game, and it just so happens that he is okay now. As always, the system prompt in the inbox should be the reward after winning the game. Congratulations to the host for beating the top of the Premier League and rewarding a card for the broker of your choice. You can freely choose the nationality of the broker, professional level, loyalty, rules of conduct, etc. Oh, this is exactly what he needs. After all, Mendes plays well abroad, but in the Dragon Kingdom, it is a black. It cannot be said that he can't do anything, but at least it is inconvenient. Congratulations to the host for having 5 players with full loyalty and 2 individual attribute points rewarded. Other than that, there are no other rewards, and it seems that as the game progresses, the degree of reward acquisition will also increase. After studying the game for a while, another surprise appeared, that is, Liu Yi could see the attributes of the 2 players he had just explained to Arnold in the transfer system. The data of the game system allows Liu Yi to have a more intuitive understanding of these two. The potential and current ability are very good, but Livramento is stronger and the confrontation is stronger. On the contrary, Lantepu is only 164 tall, and the confrontation is naturally impossible to talk about. But the speed and explosiveness are very amazing. You can let the club contact the other side first, see if the desire to join the team is strong, and then move on to the next step. As for the rest of the team, Liu Yi is now very satisfied. He just needs to look at the loyalty of the players and then help them improve. This set of teams can be used for a few years. Not to mention that he is still a little selfish. The rising star player card in his hand has not been used yet, and it is also good to play a role in his own cultivation.